In day baseball, the Royals and Nationals are tied at 4 runs apiece in the 6th inning. Tigers down early to the Rays, 3-0 in the 5th inning.
It's time.
You know what time it is?
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest-running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Got a big show lined up for you. We've got Rodney Orr coming out of the gate. We'll talk with him literally in just a couple of seconds. We'll have a chance to feature him. We'll get a preview of Alabama, Georgia from his perspective. Reese Davis, ESPN College Game Day host, will be with us at 2:30. We'll talk to Reese Davis. At 3 o'clock, we're going to be talking with the individual that's going to be hosting President Donald Trump. Katie Britt, our senator from the great state of Alabama, will be in Tuscaloosa. She's an Alabama alum, went both to undergrad and law school here at the University of Alabama. Coming back to Tuscaloosa, we will feature her at 3 o'clock. At 3:30, we're going to feature Bruce Marshall, and then at 4 o'clock, Brad Powers. So we're a little bit guest-heavy to start this show. The last 2 hours, we're going to take a lot of phone calls, and I think you're going to want to chime in today because guess what we're going to be doing today? I got a call just about an hour ago. Someone wants to give away Alabama and Georgia tickets right here on this program today and tomorrow. We're going to give you the details coming up in a couple of minutes how you can win that pair of tickets, Alabama, Georgia. Do you want to go to Alabama, Georgia? Tickets still sky high when you look at the price value. Your chance to win a pair today is today and tomorrow. So we're going to do this for 2 days, and then tomorrow in the 5:30, 5:45-ish, we're going to give away two tickets, a pair of tickets. These are decent seats. Now, they are in the upper deck, but you're also somewhere around the 35, 40-yard line. So it's a really, really good seat. So we're going to be giving those away for Alabama and Georgia. So we're going to have some fun here on the program. And
you finally got your extra tickets from the university?
Yeah. They called me. Yeah, they called me. Did you not get a phone call?
No, I must be a little bit lower on that list.
No, the problem is I don't think you're a true citizen of Tuscaloosa. So you're that's the problem. So you got to have longevity.
Okay, I'm a transfer. I'm like some of these kids nowadays. I transferred in, and I'm trying to reap the benefits here early.
And you'll get those. Let's go to Rodney Orr, as we're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Rodney, how many times have you got a phone call this week asking for tickets, sideline passes, parking, all of the above? You got a few of those this week, Rodney?
You know what, Ryan? Most of mine come a lot earlier than this week, than the week of the game, and I'll let them know very quickly. I don't have tickets. I don't have parking passes. I don't have any of those things. I don't deal in those things.
Yeah. Yes. But
I kind of end that conversation quickly.
Well, I think I should have took Gary's advice. Gary always used to tell me I'm not in the ticket business, and and I should have listened to that veteran right there. I mean, he's been in it a long, long time. So yes, we should have took that advice. But Rodney, I want to talk about a lot of different things. I want to talk about this Alabama game from your perspective. I know we don't have a game to recap. Normally we start there. But when you look at this game from your perspective, how will this winner be decided when you look at this big game?
You know what, Ryan? I really think that when you look at this game, people talk about all different things. And, you never know how it's going to play out. All of the things that we talk about, turnovers, penalties, all those things always affect the game. You know that. But I look at the Alabama-Georgia game, and I just think it's a physical game. And, I know Nick Saban's gone. It's a different coach, Kalen DeBoer. That's what I'm really interested in seeing is, Alabama matching physicality with Georgia. Because at the line of scrimmage, that's how Georgia plays the game. And, so that's really, to me, is last year in that SEC championship game, Kirby Smart will even tell you, Alabama kind of took it to Georgia. You look at all the third and fourth and shorts that Georgia went for, Alabama won a vast majority of those plays. So they beat Georgia at their own game, really. And I'm going to be interested to see kind of how these lines match up with each other. I look at Alabama's offensive line. They showed a lot of really good things against Wisconsin. I think it's got a chance to be a great offensive line as you kind of develop along the way. And Georgia's defensive line is kind of beat up. They've got some guys that won't play. They've got some guys that are questionable to play. So I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on. On the other side of the ball, Georgia's missing their best offensive guard, Tate Ratledge. He's an All-American. They still got a lot of really good players. They recruited good players behind Ratledge. So they should be okay on the offensive line. How does Alabama's defensive front stand up against Georgia's running game? Because I think you look at Etienne, you look at Nate Frazier, the true freshman. Those are two really good backs. So I'm gonna be interested to watch that battle there in the trenches as well.
Yeah, when you look at this game, it feels like Alabama is further ahead in some areas, but the one area that I want to see Alabama maybe play a little bit better is the rush defense, right? I mean, that's got to play better. You cannot play average and beat Georgia in that department because they're not going to be they're not going to abandon the run. If they're having success, they'll play that old-fashioned game of football, and they'll run it down your throat.
Yeah. You like to talk to people, defensive coordinators that have been in the game or defensive line coaches and, kind of get their perspective in those types of topics. And, Ryan, the thing that I keep hearing is that, Alabama, they've got good players up front. They could be better. They could play better technique-wise. Fundamentally, they're inconsistent. They lose leverage up front on the defensive line. Now, again, is some of that new system? I mean, it could be. But there's just some inconsistencies that they have up front. I think they've got players. I really think Alabama has some players. I'm waiting for Jaheim Otis to kind of bust out. I'm waiting for, Tim Smith. I think he can be a really, really good player. Obviously, Tim Keenan's playing really well to high level, has been. LT Overton has flashed quite a bit. But I think they've got some guys. I think they can match up with Georgia's offensive line, and it's going to be interesting to see. And Kane Womack and Kalen DeBoer both addressed the run defense, and both have said basically the same thing. We've got to get better.
And that's the area. But you look at it, I think you also go back and look from a perspective of if you're looking from a pro angle or, a positive angle from Kalen DeBoer, he's 12-2 against top 25 teams. That's nothing to shake your head about. 12-2. We know the loss came in the national championship game to the Michigan Wolverines, the one that hoisted up the trophy. But when you look at 12-2, that's a pretty solid record going up against top 25 teams.
And it's really solid. That's a great record there that he has, and, great record overall, obviously. And, it's his first SEC game. I mean, how about that? Right out of the box, you have to play Georgia. So, it's a welcome to the SEC for Kalen DeBoer. But, again, people talk about Ryan, how will he kind of respond to those types of games? He's played in some really big games, obviously. Played in the national championship game last year. He's beat Texas 2 years running now, beat them in the playoffs last year. And frankly, Texas from top to bottom had better talent than what Kalen DeBoer was playing with. So, he's beat Dan Lanning 3 times. So he's played in big time games against really big time coaches. I don't think this is something that's going to be, anything that's necessarily going to catch him by surprise. And then there's the discussion that you probably have had on your show about Kirby Smart. And, he's 1-5 against Alabama. Is there pressure on him? To me, I just say, look, Kirby's so process-oriented. He's so much like Nick Saban to me that I'm not really sure he thinks of it in that way.
Okay. Well, but it's still a weakness. I mean, he's had Alabama has been their thorn. I mean, could you imagine if Alabama would not have put those roadblocks? I mean, you could go back to 2017. They were winning that game at halftime. It looked like that Alabama had no chance. Nick Saban made probably one of the biggest coaching decisions of going from Jalen Hurts to Tua Tagovailoa, and it was a momentum swing for Alabama. Alabama came back and won that game. And you could go to so many different games. It's been a kryptonite. It's not just been, slip-ups and getting beat. It's the way that he coaches, almost like he coaches tight against Alabama.
Well, and there's the 2018 SEC championship game when they pretty much controlled the game, and he goes for it. He fakes a punt on 4th and 11 at midfield when your quarterback's hurt. that was a real questionable call there. But again, I think he is very process oriented. I think now if they lose this game, then I think that narrative's really going to pick up some steam. I think obviously Georgia fans are going to respond in a very, very negative way, and they love Kirby. He's going to have statues all over the campus there. There's no doubt about that. And so, but what I'm saying is, I do think that if they lose this game, kind of this talk is going to really ramp up.
Let me ask you about the short intermediate throws. We've not seen that. Do you feel like they're holding some of this offense back because they haven't had to?
I don't know. I don't think they were very good at it last year for the most part. They got better. Alabama did. But we haven't seen much of it. It's been down the field throws and primarily. But again, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we know that they do those things in this offense. They've got we watched what Washington did. Last year, watched a lot of their games, just trying to get a feel of his offense, and he does a lot of things in the short and intermediate game. But we haven't seen much, so we'll see about that. That's a very interesting. That'll be a very interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, but from a Georgia perspective, I was talking to a Georgia fan about 30 minutes ago, and I said, all right, give me your concerns from the Georgia perspective. He said, if Alabama's able to stop the run, I don't know if we have the wide receivers that can stretch it. If Alabama forces this game to, let's say it gets in a little bit of a shootout, do they have the offense from a receiver standpoint? They have Carson Beck. We all know the numbers there. But from a receiver standpoint, is anybody on that receiving roster scare you from an Alabama perspective?
Tell you what scares me is receivers running free for touchdowns. And whether Georgia's receivers are better than USF's or Wisconsin's, I don't know. I would think they're at least as good.
Sure.
That's just me.
Alabama did have a few busts. You're right.
Yeah. I counted about 4 in the USF game that should have probably been touchdowns. And then last week there were 2, I think, a couple against Wisconsin where they had some opportunities to hit some big plays, and they missed. That's what scares me. So I think Georgia's receivers are capable enough if Alabama's secondary doesn't play well. I mean, if they allow people to run past them. So, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic about that or at all. I'm just, it is what it is. And, you can't allow receivers to run free. And I know Kane Womack said, this is going to be an issue for us. He said this before the season. He said, we're going to take some lumps. We're going to give up some big plays. We're going to make some mistakes. What we're hoping is that by the time we start getting a little bit later into the season, that these guys are going to be coached and understanding and experienced enough to see what their mistakes were. So they made some mistakes in the first 3 games. There's no doubt about that, especially the last 2 that could have been costly, in a really big game. So have they learned from that? Will they improve upon that in this game? I think that is something to watch.
Rodney, I'd like to take you back to 2008. I know it's not the first game, but it is a very important game. This would be a momentum swing, but Alabama beat Clemson 34-10. I'm not saying Alabama's going to beat Georgia 34-10, but it was in the Georgia Dome, the old Georgia Dome, Atlanta. It was the kickoff game with Alabama and Clemson. That was the Nick Saban kind of rant after the game that it's only one game. It's only one game.
Yeah.
But from a slingshot momentum swing, what would this win over Georgia, higher-ranked team, the favorite coming into this game, could that be a momentum swing for Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah, I think so, to some extent. But, I mean, it's always next week, Ryan. Nick Saban said it then. I can say it now. It is one game. And, you still got to play Tennessee. You got Oklahoma later in the season. You've got on the road. You've got, that'll be the week before the Auburn game. You have to play that game. And then you've got LSU. You still got some pretty big, challenging opponents coming up, right? So I just think that it's one game, and be a huge win. Don't get me wrong, be a great win. And I'll tell you the good thing too is if you win, when you're looking at it from a playoff perspective, I mean, this kind of puts you a game up a little bit, because if you drop a game later, you're still okay. You're still right solidly in the playoff mix. That's why I think Georgia coming back and beating Kentucky was so big for them. If they lose that Kentucky game, they're at risk of losing another game and then maybe even another game, and 3 losses probably puts you out. So I think the winner, will have a little bit of a leg up.
Let me ask you from a recruiting perspective. What is this weekend set up for recruiting as far as the on-campus visitors getting ready for this big signing class? What do you think?
Yeah, it's got a Nick Saban feel to it.
Does it?
To be honest with you, they've got first of all, they've got a bunch of 5-stars already committed, as you know, and all those guys are basically going to be here. So they've got an impressive list of guys committed, and that's important because you know how it is, Ryan. Other schools keep recruiting your guys, and they keep coming after. You can look at Michael Carroll. He's supposed to be here. He's offensive lineman. He's at Braden IMG right now, but he's originally from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and he's 5-star offensive lineman. Miami has been making a strong push, but to get your guys back on campus, that's really big. That's number one. Number two is they've got some guys coming in. You and I talked about it on this segment before when we talked recruiting. And I said, Ryan, you watch what I'm telling you. It happens every year that we're going to get into late September, October, that time frame, and kids who are being recruited heavily by Alabama in the summer, who are really drawing close to Alabama, that committed somewhere else, they're going to show up again. And we're starting to see that. You look at Ivan Taylor. He's a 4-star safety, great player out of Winter Gardens, Florida. He committed to Notre Dame, and he flipped to Michigan when some people thought he might flip to Alabama. Now he's going to be here this weekend. He's supposed to be. All right, you got Andrew Olish, tight end from up in Pennsylvania, who's really started warming up to Alabama. He was a strong Michigan guy. Started warming up to Alabama, then he just went ahead and committed to Michigan. Now he's going to be here for this game. Derek Smith, who was committed to Alabama, flipped to Auburn. Now he's going to be here at this game. So you kind of get the drift. Alabama's in on a lot of guys, some guys that are now having those second thoughts again, and they're going to take visits. And, the atmosphere, and if you win, can make a really strong impression on some of these guys.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Rodney, I'll go back to TITV, WVUA. Each Tuesday, you share a prediction with Gary. I'm curious what that prediction was.
Well, Ryan, I think I'm pretty conservative, right?
You could say it again, and I'm not sure we'd say it enough times.
Yeah. Well, I picked it 24-21 Alabama, and, I don't know. I just think that it's a little bit like last year's game. I think that, just the physical nature of it. Both defenses are really good. Georgia's given up 6 points a game. Alabama's only given up 8 points a game. Even though I'm concerned about the run defense, I'm concerned about the secondary a little bit. When you look at scoring defense, Alabama's only given up 8 points a game. It's pretty good. Competition hasn't been great, but it's been okay. Third down defense is really good. 16% on third down, Ryan. Only 16%. Those are the two things that I know Kane Womack put near the top of his list. Scoring defense and third downs. And they're really excelling at those two things. So anyway, I just kind of expect that. There may be a little more point differential, but I went 24-20. I might have said 24-21. I went 24-20.
24-20. Any concerns about Graham Nicholson from the kicker? Because in one of these close games, kicking at Miami is, Miami of Ohio is one great thing, and he won the Lou Groza Award. But kicking on a stage like this is a different animal.
He missed that one to the right. I know people talked about he had some problems in, the fall camp, August camp. And then he missed that one, was a 46-yarder, kind of went to the right against Wisconsin. That's the only kick he's had besides, extra points. That is, to me, I'd like to see him get into it. Now, you don't want to settle for field goals, don't get me wrong. But hit a couple of big kicks, that give you a little confidence, get you in a rhythm. I do think that that's something that's important.
Just kind of figure out a way there to get him some momentum going into this, this big, tough SEC schedule as they open up play. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, TITV, WVUA, each Tuesday, 6:30, 10:30 on the replay. It's archived at TiderInsider.com, TiderInsider.com. Rodney, I appreciate you for being a part of our show. Thank you as always. I'll see you Saturday inside the press box. A very busy day.
Look forward to it, Ryan. Take
Thank
care.
you. Absolutely. Thank you. Rodney Orr helping us out there. Reese Davis coming up in just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to do that we could build that in. His meeting started a little bit late, so he's finishing up that, and then he'll join us. And we've got Katie Brick coming up at 3, Bruce Marshall at 3:30, and then Brad Powers at 4 o'clock. Let me go through the way that we're going to give away these tickets, and we're gonna do a couple of different things for this Alabama-Georgia ticket side of things. BetU, which has been a partnership. We were out in Dallas. They sponsored our coverage. We were out at the Rose Bowl. They sponsored our coverage. I mean, they were the ones that helped us get out there. BetU has also joined back up. Now, remember Elliott Bond is a guy that is a Georgia guy. And remember last year, SEC title game? He was barking. He was barking. I mean, he was barking, right? And then there was no bark there. I mean, the bark was gone, right? It was, he kind of came on and wrote a little bit of a check that maybe 3 in a row. They were already kind of counting their chickens before the eggs hatched. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away a pair of tickets, and we're going to do it 2 different ways. Now, this is how you're going to be eligible to win, okay? You don't have to be a caller because we know people don't like, everybody doesn't like calling in. I get that, right? They say less than 1% of your audience actually calls in and talks sports with you, okay? So less than 1% call in. So I'm trying to give you 2 options. There's 2 different ways that you can win. If you go to their BetU app, okay, and you say, well, hold on, whoa. I'm not a guy that likes to do that. Sign up. Register, sign up. They've added some different things to it. It's much easier to make some advancements. BetU. What is BetU? BetU is head-to-head sports betting, no bookies, no house, no juice, no fees, which is why it's legal in the state of Alabama. Bet directly against your friends, real money with automated payouts available across the Southeast, including Alabama, Georgia, and many other states. How it works, sign up, add friends, just like a social network. Add funds. Now, they have Apple Pay. They have cards now. It's a lot easier. You don't have to tie into your checking account. That was, I think, one of the initial things they did. And they did. I mean, they listened to you guys. They made some of those adjustments. And then you propose and accept real wagers. Now, Elliott Bond's going to come on tomorrow, and he's going to take Alabama bets up to a certain number. And I'm talking about he's going to say Georgia's going to beat. So it's a good way to want a little bit of cash here. But you can send bets directly to your friends or by messaging friends, one-to-one groups, group chat, little trash talk. So it's called BetU. It's the challenge and the concept is pretty unique, right? It's challenging your friends, but how many times have you ever bet a friend and they say, well, I'll pay you next week. How many times you ever did that? Quite a bit. So for the giveaway, it's very simple. You download the BetU app on the App Store, sign up, and you can sign up for free. There's no charge. There's nothing. Okay, so as far as you just download the BetU, we're going to take those names and the names who call into the program and make a contribution between today and tomorrow, and then at 5:30, we're going to stop the names tomorrow. We're not going to take any more names after 5:30. And then Jackson across the glass is going to take the names that we get from Elliott Bond and the names who participate in our show. Now, like I said, you must sign up on BetU. So even if you do call in, you got to sign up on BetU to be qualified for this. It's a little sponsor that is giving us the tickets. The tickets are quite expensive. Was trying to do a couple of different avenues to get some tickets to give away because I know this is a big game and I know it's kind of a little bit of a challenge. So what we'll do is we'll get people to call in and you make a contribution and then we'll give those tickets away. And Jackson tomorrow we'll put it into a simple spinner. One of the name generators will put all the names there. You'll hit the button right over there in that studio, and you're going to make somebody's day, and you're going to make some people angry at you, Jackson. Are you willing to take that pressure of giving these tickets away? Because
I will take on that responsibility.
And what we'll do is, and what I always like to do is I videotape it just to show, hey, all the names are there. We hit the button, and whatever name comes up, then that'll be the winner. So we'll do the name generator, and we'll give away a pair of tickets there to Alabama and Georgia. So we'll set that up, and if you want to jump in, you certainly can do that now, and you can be eligible, and we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun as we'll talk Alabama Crimson Tide football. Kalen DeBoer was, I don't want to say confident, but, he has a unique personality. His confidence is not arrogance. It's almost like following Nick Saban. If we've watched this approach of following Nick Saban, I think he has been able to master step by step, understanding that this program is special. He's never tried to disrespect Coach Saban. There'd be a lot of other coaches, I think, that would be intimidated by Nick Saban right down the hallway or right down the street, still a part of the University of Alabama athletic department. Still, he has not. He has a quiet confidence. It's not arrogance. It's more of just, it's humble. I don't even know how to describe it.
He's secure with himself.
He believes in his system. There is a belief in his system that it is going to work. And I think when you look at this offense last night, right here on the flagship home of Alabama Crimson Tide football, we were listening to Kalen DeBoer, as many of you were, right here on the Tide 100.9 app, and it's a great way to listen to all of our stuff, whether it's Chris Stewart and Tyler Watts and Roger Hoover and Damian Square on the sidelines, Christian Miller, which is part of our team from the Miller's Edge from 12 until 2. You know, listening to those guys share football analogy, we are the flagship home. We have the streaming rights, and you can download the Tide 100.9 app and listen to all of the sporting events, not just the games itself, but the coaches show. We do the Crimson Tide Rewind on Monday evening, and that day will probably go back to Nate Oates. I'm sure that's where Nate Oates will probably do his show. We do all of the sporting events. I say all. There's no way that we could put all the sports on one station, but we have 7-8 stations in our building, and we have softball over here and men's basketball here and 95.3 The Bear, and we also do baseball, softballs over here, and so we take a lot of those sports on because a lot of those are housed right here in our building. So there's some stations that don't even have, they may air football, but they don't air softball. Well, we air everything in our building. So there's not one sporting event that's broadcast on Crimson Tide Sports Network that we do not carry. So we got Reese Davis coming up in a couple of minutes. I've got Kalen DeBoer audio. Reese is running a little bit late coming out of the meeting, so we'll get with him coming up, and we'll talk about ESPN College Game Day. Brad Powers, I can't wait to hear his perspective from a betting side of things. We're also watching for ESPN College Game Day to be released as far as the guest picker. I have called a few people, and I've asked because I saw the names out there floating around. Who is it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who is going to be the guest picker? At some point today, we will learn who that guest picker is between now and 6 p.m. We will learn, and I'll try to squeeze Reese Davis. I don't know if he'll volunteer it. I doubt he will, but he might give us a hint. He might give us a little bit of a hint. I have also made a few phone calls because I thought some names that might be very popular could be one of these guys. And so I've been able to kind of mark some guys off the list, right, in my mind, because I said, okay, maybe they'll go this way. Maybe they'll go this way. And then you start looking at it from a Georgia perspective, because it doesn't have to be, an Alabama perspective. It could be, is there somebody out there that would check both of those boxes? I think there could be.
A country music singer or two.
Could be an option. So we'll see. I love the Miss Terry option, but I don't know from a national standpoint, would Miss Terry be that individual that would, to be able to, she's known here and we love Miss Terry, but from a national audience, who they are trying to go in their demographic, I don't know. Would she check that box?
I think so. I think getting a powerful female to do that.
I mean, let me tell you, talking football with her,
she knows her stuff.
Oh yeah, she can break it down. And Coach Saban always used to say, "Well, she wants to run the football. She wants to run it. She wants to run it." He goes, "I hear it from my wife. I hear it from the daughter. I hear it from all these different things. Do this, do this, do this, do this." So we'll get Reese Davis coming up in a couple of minutes. We will also dive into with Katie Britt coming up at 3:00. The senator from the great state of Alabama. We'll talk with her. She's going to be hosting Donald Trump inside one of the suites at Bryant-Denny Stadium. We'll talk with Katie, which is a longtime friend of our program, even prior to her days as a senator, as a political leader in our state. We featured her. We watched her through the campaign. So we've going to invite her to be a part of our program at 3:00, Bruce Marshall at 3:30, and then at 4:00 we'll talk to Brad Powers. Medicine, urgent care, family medicine, no appointment necessary. The super doctors who live and work in our area, it is medicine or urgent care, family medicine. Let's break here, and if Reese gets out of this meeting, we won't be squeezed up and gets that break. We'll break here. Hopefully, if Reese Davis is able to join us, we'll talk with him. If not, we may have to reschedule a little bit later this show because
I feel the sky's the limit. You have to catch some breaks here along the way, whether that's health or those big moments in games that get the swing in your favor, and so you create those breaks, and that's again where us just going to work, focusing on the main thing, focusing on ourselves, focusing on us. That's what matters most.
All right, that is Kalen DeBoer talking about being an underdog. First time Alabama's been an underdog at home since 2007. Right now to help us break down that game and a lot more, Bruce Marshall. He is a professional handicapper. He was going to join us at 3:30. Hey, Bruce, for one, thanks for being flexible. Appreciate you sliding right in here, talking a little football and kind of giving up that 3:30 segment to somebody that was running a little bit late. But, Bruce, you react to Alabama being the underdog at home against UGA.
Yeah. By the way, my CBS friends will get a kick out of I'm pinch hitting here for Reese before he comes on a little bit later.
We won't tell him. We won't tell him.
Okay. I'm a little surprised. We talked about this briefly last Thursday, Ryan. That I thought that this is one of those games they had an early number posted back in the spring, and it was higher, 4.5 or so, and then but even they started to move it down, and by the time we got to this week, Georgia's still 1.5. The wrong team's favored here. This is just, for some reason now, Georgia gets this sort of respect more than it deserves today. It's like to the odds makers and a lot of the general public, they don't seem to care that Bama beat Georgia in the SEC title game. In their minds now, Georgia is the best team. This is a bad number. Alabama should be a 3-point favorite, I think. That's my number on the game. This is a reputation thing. And it is really, I guess this is the one thing that Kirby Smart has done at Georgia. The Georgia now, because of the success he's had the last few years, is now gets this sort of break in the reputation thing. This is like what Notre Dame used to do in the old years and the Cowboys. And, it's just a little adjustment always for Georgia. And even to this point, favored at Tuscaloosa. I don't buy it. I think Alabama should be favored, and that's why I think.
How much do you, if Alabama was the favorite, if I said, Bruce Marshall, put a line on this game, and you were doing a sports book and you were creating the line, where would you have the line?
3 or 3.5. That's my power rating.
Minus the 3.5. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, my power rating, because I have my own ratings on these, has Alabama and Georgia pretty the same. But you give 3, 3.5, 4 points for home, and so that there comes out the number. My gut feel, on my numbers, if these two teams played in Memphis in a neutral field, it's a pick 'em. So you're getting a little value here. I think this is by my own numbers, and I have them for all the teams. But this one, I think I will stand by this. The odds makers are off on this, and they got the wrong team favored.
All right, so when you look at this game from your standpoint, when you start breaking it down, give me things that you think is the advantage Alabama.
Jalen Milroe is more likely to make plays and improvise than Carson Beck. You saw what Kentucky did 2 weeks ago, and these Georgia people are poo-pooing that too much. But Kentucky jammed the gearbox on Georgia, and when they got to go to Plan B when they're not able to dominate the line of scrimmage, and you put pressure on Beck, he is not that mobile, and this gives Bama an advantage. And I don't think Georgia's going to control, up front here. One other thing, remember last year, how important Brock Bowers was to Georgia. He was there all the time the last 2 years. I mean, he was the money guy at Georgia, no matter who the quarterback, whether it was Bennett or whether it was Beck last year. He's with the Raiders now. So I think they're going to miss him in a big game. And I think Milroe is more likely to make big plays. Though, in truth, Ryan, the old cliche, more mistakes, you probably lose. So if anybody loses the turnover battle by 2 or more, that'll probably determine the game. But, that's sort of a cop-out thing. I think Bama is more likely to make big plays here. I think they're more likely to sustain drives. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game. As long as they don't make mistakes, they can do it.
Bruce, the total's at 48.5. Is there any value there?
That's right about where I would put it. My score for it, and I put a couple, this will be like in the Las Vegas Review-Journal tomorrow and some other things, 26-20 Bama. So I had my score a little bit under. They went 51 last year in Atlanta for the SEC title game. They also went 51 in the championship game a few years ago. So they have Atlanta 51, but something tells me the way, like I said, the no Bowers, I think that takes a little something away from Georgia. And, what we saw Kentucky did, I don't see why Alabama can't have some similar success as to what Kentucky did 2 weeks ago.
I want to ask you about Auburn and Oklahoma. That game down in Lee County, Auburn's a little bit ticked off. When you look at this being an underdog at home, your breakdown of Oklahoma and Auburn.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm not sure how good Oklahoma is. I'm really not. I mean, they didn't put up much of a fight really against Tennessee. I know Tennessee's really good. And now Venables looks like he's switching quarterbacks. That was a quick hook on Jackson Arnold because he was very highly touted. Now it looks like they're going with the backup Hawkins. They did more with him in the game last week against Tennessee. But I don't know if that puts them ahead of Hugh here because I don't know what he's going to do with the Hank Brown thing or if it's going to be Thorne. I'm just surprised with all these quarterbacks sloshing around the portal the last couple of years that Auburn wasn't able to do a bit better than what it has done. Having said that, though, I don't think Oklahoma is all that great. I think Freeze may actually win this game. It's going to be the first big road start for whoever starts at quarterback for Oklahoma, if it's Hawkins or if it's Arnold. But it's not going to be Arnold apparently. It's going to be it's still an intimidating place to play. I actually think Auburn little value here at home as a dog. I'm just not sure Oklahoma's that great.
All right, so you like Auburn plus the points here. Let's go to Arkansas against Texas A&M. Texas A&M minus the 4 down in Arlington, Texas. Neutral site game. Arkansas the underdog here.
Yeah, 1 second.
You're fine. Grab you a little bit of water.
Little drink here for me.
You're okay. We're talking to Bruce Marshall, professional handicapper,
okay.
VegasInsider.com.
I'm good.
You're fine.
I'm good here. Yeah, just a little choked up there. A little candy bar.
Well, it was Auburn that did it. I mean, that you got to thinking about
Auburn does it every time.
Yeah, and you got choked up thinking about those Auburn Tigers.
This has been a real A&M series. For 9 of the last 10, they've beaten Arkansas in Jerry World. But a lot of those games have been really close. I have not been that impressed with A&M this far. And I'm not sure, Weigman with this offense, I mean, they should have kept Haynes King around, and that's up to Jimbo last year, running him off. I think he would have been better than anything they've had since then. I kind of like Arkansas, what they're doing. And here's my old thing about Bobby Petrino. Short term, he's coordinating the offense now. But he's good short term. The problem with Petrino comes when he stays at the party too long. 3rd year, 4th year, then it starts going off the rails. He's making a difference with this offense. He's got Taylor Green making plays. There's a guy available in the portal. Arkansas got him. Auburn, could have got him too, I think. But he's making plays. They can run the football. I'm not that impressed with A&M this far. So this is one, I think, Arkansas. Jerry Jones is going to be there. He's always cheering for Arkansas in this game in his stadium. They beat him 3 years ago, 20-10 in that one. I think they're closer here. 23-20 Arkansas, my score. I think Arkansas gets them.
I want to break down one more game, and then I'm going to get you out of here. Kentucky to Ole Miss. Ole Miss minus the 17 over at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah, this is one now. Ole Miss is probably going to get something of an argument here. But I'm reluctant to go against them just because I think this offense can move against almost anybody. And Jackson Dart, second year, we know what the running game can do. We know what Lane can do. I am still not quite sure. Kentucky's rugged, and we saw what they did a couple of weeks ago against Georgia. But, Vandegrift, it's still not that smooth offensively. And that's the way it was last year when Leary came in from NC State. That offense did not work last year. And it just seems like it's a little slow. I know it's a lot of points here, and Kentucky's tough on defense. But I just don't. And Lane jams in scores late to cover numbers. So I'm thinking this one is going to be like 34-13 Ole Miss. I think they're going to probably cover it.
It is VegasInsider.com, CBS Sportsline. You can find his picks right there at VegasInsider.com. Bruce Marshall, CBS Sportsline. He's there. Bruce Marshall, I appreciate you, man, for always being part of our show each and every Thursday. Anything else I need to promote here?
You got me. And the new one, Winners and Liners, WHINERS.com, picksandparlays.com, plus Sportsline and VegasInsider.com.
It is right back into the game here in Tuscaloosa, tied at 100.9, 1230 WTBC on an electrified Tuscaloosa. Jackson has been talking about campus. I've been talking about campus. I've never seen this early of a buzz. I mean, it started on Monday, and part of that is because President Trump is coming to Tuscaloosa to this game. Obviously, Georgia and Alabama, that'll be the showcase, but just to electrify the atmosphere. And right now to help us, one of the individuals that's going to be hosting Donald Trump is Katie Britt, our senator from the great state of Alabama. She's an Alabama alum. We're certainly proud of what she's been able to accomplish. Katie Britt, welcome back to Tuscaloosa. I hope you're having a great day.
Ryan, it is wonderful to be back on with you and obviously to be in front of your listeners. It was good. When you had me on hold prior to getting to come on here, I was asking Jackson all of those questions. How does campus feel? What are people saying? And I will tell you, the energy everywhere to me is just through the roof. And I've been wearing my Alabama baseball cap through the Capitol more than one day. I had to get a couple of Roll Tides off to my colleagues from Georgia. And so, it's game time, and I am excited, and we are obviously thrilled that President Trump, in the midst of a very busy election season, would take the time to be a part of such a special evening and such a big game.
He'll be his second time back to Tuscaloosa. Alabama also was a part of a game over in Atlanta that he was a part of. Alabama won that and won a national title in front of President Trump when he was still in office. But now it's a little bit different feeling. Can you walk us through how this came about that President Trump selected to come to this game? Or did you do any arm twisting, or were you part of that?
Well, I know that there have probably been a number of people who have talked to him about a number of things. I think it's been well documented. Obviously, his conversations with Rick Mayers. I had a conversation with him 2 Mondays ago or a little bit before that. The days all run together. And he said, what do you think about me coming to the Alabama-Georgia game? And we were, of course, told him we're always happy to host him and would be very excited. Now, just so you know, he loves Wesley Brett. And so he and Wesley get along wonderfully. So he thinks Wesley, he always tells me, he says, your husband is the biggest man I've ever met. He's the biggest man I've ever met, which you could agree.
A lot of us would agree. Yes, we would. We would.
And so he wanted to know, Wesley will obviously be with us as well. And we've been proud to work alongside everybody, work with his team to make sure that this is, smooth interaction, getting him in there and letting the people of Alabama be excited to see him and let him watch a great game in which we know that the Tide's going to roll.
Okay. All right. It's going to be fun, and I think it's a showcase. We've been asking from a historical advantage. We've had historians call in and talk about the Orange Bowl back in the 60s and different presidents being able to attend. So, there's a lot of other places that he could be. Instead of he's going to be in Tuscaloosa. I think that's a stamp of approval of not just our state. Understanding that Georgia is a battleground state, I'm sure that helps. So we can unite there, and hopefully we can get a few electoral points over in the Peach State, just a little bit.
That's exactly right, Ryan. We need Georgia. We know Georgia is actually red, and so we can turn it all the way back red this election. And I certainly hope that's what we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to spar on Saturday, but after that, I think we're going to be united in obviously taking our country back. When we're looking at it, just looking at our border being overrun, you look at where we are, our standing in the world. We've got to get back to actually understanding that you achieve peace through strength, and then every single person knows that under this administration that their dollar doesn't go as far. And in fact, whether you're at the grocery store or the gas station, or you're trying to figure out, how to make sure your kids get to do X or Y or Z, or how to pay this bill, and looking at interest rates and mortgages and everything, people are hurting. And so I think we will have fun with our neighbors from Georgia until that game is over. And then whoever gets to celebrate, which I believe will be the Tide, we'll do that for the next 24 hours. And then I think we're going to join forces again to make sure that we put the right person and the right people across this country in place to actually preserve our nation for the next generation. And so I'm excited to host President Trump, and I am excited to be a part of putting this country back on track.
Senator Brett, what can be done to make sure that people believe in our election system? Because people call, and we've said it right there. You said it in the last couple of minutes. There's a part that we don't trust the system. What can be done in this upcoming election that can reestablish that?
Yeah, look, we've been working diligently between last election and this election, just learning from kind of everything and trying to make sure that you safeguard against what you can safeguard off, and you also understand the game as it is played today. One of the things that we've done differently as Republicans is, understanding the rules in the states as they are. So listen carefully. I am not saying that you have to like the rules about when you vote and how you vote. That's not what I'm saying. But you do have to know the rules, play by the rules, and win by the rules. And that's exactly what we're working to do in these different states. And so where early voting is a thing, we are making sure that that Republicans get to the polls, that people understand and get there early, bank that vote. It is critically important that we do that and do that better. We've been looking at other things, obviously, like kind of, taking a look, trying to figure out, make sure that you've got attorneys in the right place and that that we're looking at poll workers and that those are evenly split. And so being incredibly diligent on the front end, the RNC, under the leadership of co-chair Laura Trump, this is something that she's been very, very diligently working on. And then there are things we're doing, bigger picture-wise, stuff that we've not been able to get over the finish line, obviously, when we don't control the Senate and certainly don't control the White House. But we've been putting forth solutions. I have a solution with regards to non-citizen voting. It came about, Congressman Gary Palmer is the lead in the House, and I am working alongside him in the Senate with the Citizens Ballot Protection Act, making sure that we have the right resources to make sure that only citizens are voting in our elections. Ryan, interestingly, some people believe that is not a problem. It absolutely is. You look at some of our Democratic-run cities across the country where they are allowing non-citizens to vote in municipal and local elections. And the first one that comes to mind here is obviously D.C. So in D.C., where we have more foreign assets, more foreign agents than any other place in the globe, and for everybody listening, that of course that is spies and people working for foreign governments planted right there in Washington D.C. We let them vote in the direction of our nation's capital, and it is mind-boggling that D.C. has those types of laws. Additionally speaking, you look at like the Chinese Communist Party, anybody working at that embassy has the right to vote in that municipal election, meaning they get to decide the path that our nation's capital takes. And in no other country in the world would you allow this to happen. And we know it starts somewhere, and making sure that our federal elections are citizens only is critically important. And so there are steps like that. There are steps across the board, things that we are bringing attention to. And hopefully when we win the White House, take back the Senate and hold the House, we'll have an opportunity to actually get some of these things done. Because, look, I want every person to have the opportunity to vote. I think that is critically important. Every citizen to have the opportunity to vote, I think that is critically important. But when we look at where we are, right now, we have to make sure that we're putting safeguards in place, because it's important that your vote is protected, because it's one of the most important things that you have.
Katie, how concerning it is for you as someone in Washington, D.C., that someone is running for president and we don't really know who she is, what she stands for. It's a different day. It's a different flavor. It's almost like she is trying to get votes simply by trying to blend in, but we all know that that's not true. You're an individual that's been very media friendly. You went through all 67 counties. You went to kind of a lunch pail, work boot mentality of going and meeting people, going out, getting to know their concerns. How concerning is it that someone is running for one of the highest office, the most powerful person in the world, and we really don't know what her platform truly is?
It is mind-boggling that the American press would allow this to happen. It really shows the disregard that the Democratic Party has for the media, but then it also shows that the media is basically the third arm of the Democratic Party. They'll let them get through anything at all. She's not answered any questions. She's not doing press conferences. She's not doing any type of interview. She's not just taking Q&A on her way to the plane. We have no idea what she actually believes, because she continues to tell us she's in different places and no one is holding her accountable. You think about this, even in that debate, the moderators there at ABC did not ask her one tough question. Look, I am happy for both candidates to get tough questions, because to your point, they're going to be the commander-in-chief of the greatest nation, most powerful nation across the globe. And if you can't answer a tough question in front of the American people, you don't deserve to serve in that office. And so you see tough questions be given to President Trump, and then the questions they ask her, well, what do you think about his tough question? I mean, never did they say, why did you push for these policies? You know, you have said you were against fracking, and now you are saying you're for fracking. You have said that the wall was a medieval project of Donald Trump's, and you would never support any funding for the wall. And now you're putting the wall actually in your campaign commercials. You know, you were the most liberal member of the United States Senate, and Bernie Sanders says, don't listen to what she says. She doesn't believe it. She's trying to get elected. And they don't make her even answer for that. I mean, the fact that she was the border czar and never went to the border, I mean, you know, went one time, I mean, it's never went and spent any meaningful time at the border, never came in and said, here are the problems and here are the solutions that I put forth. I mean, it's absurd. Everything that she has, said she believes, she now says she doesn't, and not one person is getting any answers from her. So I think they should have asked her, you know, do you still support Medicare for all and ending private insurance? You know, you misled the people for months about President Biden's sharpness and strength as a candidate. Why should we trust you now? You know, you said that you were for elective abortions in the 8th month of pregnancy, essentially in the policy positions you put forth. Explain that to the American people. I mean, do you think it was fair that you didn't receive one vote across the country, but yet have been coronated as the queen of the Democratic Party, and you're trying to be our next president? And I think she should have had to answer, really tough questions about the fact that she was the last person in the room with Joe Biden before he made the decision for the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan. And she said that, she felt good about the advice she gave him and about the decision that they made. And that, Ryan, I will tell you, has sent shockwaves across the globe. I have had the opportunity to sit across from foreign leaders, presidents, prime ministers, amongst numerous individuals, and every single one of them have said that was a defining moment in history that was not good for our nation, that it made our allies question our strength, and it emboldened our enemies. And then now we are seeing the result. You look at the chaos in the Middle East. Literally, the world is on fire. You look at Putin's once again invading Ukraine. That didn't happen under President Trump. That's only happened under Obama, Biden, and then Biden, Harris. And then you look at the CCP visiting our soil after they cleaned up San Francisco and telling the Biden-Harris administration it's not an if, but a when they take Taiwan. And yet here you have Kamala Harris saying, I want us to be, I don't want us to, she didn't want us fracking. She doesn't want us drilling. She doesn't want to put the needs of this country first. And it is mind-boggling to me. And I actually went to the floor, Ryan. So last week I was just over it. And I said, I am so sick of her saying she is now going to detain people when she said she essentially wanted to recreate ICE, that she is now saying she's for the border wall, when she clearly said she would never vote for it or send any money. I am so sick of her saying she is for fracking and unleashing American energy, when in fact every policy and position she has held before now has been the exact opposite. So I went to the floor, Ryan, and I put a series of bills that did those things on the floor. And I said, look, if this is now the new position of the Democratic Party, that we are now for fracking, then let's put a bill on the floor that unleashes American energy, allows us to frack, and let's pass this bill. Guess what? The Democrats blocked it. I put another bill on the floor, Ryan, about the wall, building the wall, making sure, figuring out we can pay for it. You look at Kamala Harris, and she believes we should give taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgeries to illegal aliens. She believes American taxpayers, she has said, should pay for that surgery for someone who is here illegally. I mean, this is so far outside the bounds of where we are, but I put a bill on the floor that said, let's make sure, what about building the wall? Guess what? The Democrats blocked it. We put a bill on the floor to close the asylum loophole and allow allow us to have a more secure border, they blocked it. So it is clear that either she is being untruthful or the Democratic Party doesn't stand behind her new policies. And I think we know exactly which one it is, and that is that she is not telling the truth to the American people. And I believe the American people are going to see right through it.
Are you seeing momentum on the campaign trail? Are you hearing momentum? Because there seems to be a shift in the last couple of 3 weeks that these percentages in these battleground states are really tightening up, even ones that maybe I didn't even think were in play that seem to be a little closer than we anticipated.
Oh, absolutely. Look, the momentum has swung our way, and now we have just got to continue to build off of it, Ryan. You look at the presidential, it's clear that people are starting to understand the realities of having a weak commander-in-chief. They know that she can't answer tough questions. The policies she's putting forward are shallow. They lack depth. She lacks understanding about the implications of simple things like saying she was going to essentially price fix at the grocery store. Not knowing what that meant for small grocery outlets across our state and our farming families who give so much to make sure that we are fed and we are clothed. And I believe food security is national security. And she had the implications of some of the things she's putting forth are absolutely ridiculous. People are feeling that. People understand. At the end of the day, they want to be safe. They want to be secure. They know that President Trump stands with our courageous men and women in uniform, and he's going to continue to back our law enforcement officers. And when you back law enforcement officers, then you have safer communities. And you look at our border, and you look at just how it's been overrun. You look at our cities across our country, across our state, who the influx of migrants into their communities has cost a huge burden there as far as tax dollars and trying to make ends meet and all kinds of things. But not to mention, obviously, first and foremost, safety. I mean, you look at Laken Riley. You look at just so many stories similar to that. That if the proper policies on the border had been in place, these young women, these people would still be alive. And so, we understand, Ryan, that we're a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws, and people want a secure border. I mean, you look at what's happening across the continent, and then you look at what's happening across the globe, and people understand that we need true leadership. They want Donald Trump back in the White House. They want to unleash American energy. They want to achieve peace through strength. And Ryan, they're ready to actually feel like they're going to be able to preserve the American dream for the next generation. And right now, people look around, and if you say, are my children going to be better off than me? Am I going to leave? Are they going to leave them in a nation where they have the opportunity to flourish? For the first time in a really, really, really long time, people are saying, I don't think so. And so we want to change that narrative. We want to change that dynamic. They realize how far left the Democratic Party has gotten. I mean, Ryan, seriously, it's like left of left. Gone are the days of Bill Clinton's Democratic Party. I mean, this is Bernie Sanders' Democratic Party, and people are ready to return to some common sense and prosperity for everyone.
Katie, final question. I promise you I'll get you out of here with this. I really appreciate the opportunity. You met with Scott Cochran, someone that's very close to the University of Alabama, Coach Saban. He's also has ties back to UGA, working with Kirby Smart. He talked about this a couple of weeks ago on our show, meeting you up in Washington, D.C., and going through his story, because it's one that it takes a lot of courage to share, but it's a real problem in our country.
It absolutely is, Ryan. And I just, first off, Wesley and I are proud to call Scott a friend. We are and so grateful that not only he was courageous enough to get the help that he needed, but then that he is willing to tell his story and willing to tell it so that someone else out there listening or hearing it has the courage to take that step as well. Because as we know, addiction of all forms has the opportunity, unfortunately, not only to ruin one individual's life, but can also do that of an entire family. And so I just want to say thank you to Coach Cochran for, the man that he is, and not only being willing to have the strength to do hard things, but then being humble enough to allow the hard things that he went through to help others. And so for anyone out there who is listening or struggling, I mean, seek help because treatment works, and treatment can give you a new lease on life by the grace of God. I mean, I believe our Heavenly Father, like through prayer and hard work, you can do what others believe is impossible, and you are worth it. Your family is worth it. Your life is worth it. And what you can give. I mean, I think the Lord calls all of us to do different things, and I think that in that, we our strengths and weaknesses are used to kind of sort of chart a plan that ultimately is for the glory of His kingdom. And so, take that step, walk down that path, and if you know someone who is struggling, have the courage to help them get the help that they need. And so to Coach Cochran, not only thank you so much for what you did for Alabama football, let's all put our hands in the air with the fours up right now, right?
Yes,
right now. Like
absolutely.
Everybody knows. Like fours up, let's go.
We could use that for the campaign too, right? We could do the fourth quarter in the final couple of 43 days away, 43 days.
I love it. Hey, and I'm not going to be quite as grateful for his time at UGA. You know what I mean? I'm not quite as grateful because some of those games really stunk. Hey. No, but seriously, we are so grateful for him, for his example. And look, guys, get out and vote and encourage other people to vote. I mean, there's a lot at stake in this election, and truly it is the difference in being able to preserve the American dream and the American way of life and the opportunity that exists in this nation for the next generation, and common sense and values that make this country so great, versus a situation where the needs of our country, whether it's energy independence, whether it's making sure that we actually achieve peace through strength. I mean, whether it's how far our dollar goes or whatnot, the needs that we have as a nation, we put on the back burner to a liberal ideology. And look, I want to get back to a place where, we can all in this country agree to disagree agreeably, and we can start to have conversations about how proud we are to be Americans. But unfortunately, we got a lot ahead of us when it comes to work to do to put our country back in a great place. But I believe in our nation. I believe in our citizens, and I'm really proud and honored to have the opportunity to work for our state and our country. And I'm doing that literally. I promise you, I'm working hard every single day.
Well, I know there's discouraging moments, but just letting you know, there's a lot of people back here in Alabama praying for you, because I know the fight can probably be discouraging. But I heard you a couple of weeks ago on Mark Levin, and I don't know if you know this, but he's a big Alabama fan. I'm not sure if his wife and daughter.
What?
Yes. I heard you for probably an hour, 45 minutes an hour. You did an in-depth interview. Mark Levin is an Alabama fan. I think his wife is from Madison. His daughter went to Alabama.
Out.
Yes. I heard it. I was like, I'm sitting here listening to two Alabama people talk, and you guys are talking about a lot of different issues. And I'm like, I'm giving a Roll Tide, but nobody can hear it. But he's a big Alabama
Oh my gosh,
fan.
Roll Tide.
Yes.
Well, I love it. Well, I'm going to have to bring that up to him next time I am on. I will certainly do it. And unfortunately, we have no shortage of topics to talk about there. You see where the word has come out that President Trump was briefed that the Iranians are trying to assassinate him. I mean, we see what's happening with Iran and them funding terrorism just all across the Middle East, with Hamas in Gaza, with the Houthis in Yemen, with Hezbollah there in Lebanon. And we see, unfortunately, this administration unwilling to actually enforce sanctions that dry them up financially. And so these are the types of things that we've got to get to work on and not let our adversaries flourish and continue to gain a stronghold across the globe.
Katie, thank you again for what you do for the state of Alabama. Hopefully we'll be able to see you Saturday inside Bryant-Denny Stadium as you are going to be hosting. It's going to be fun. It's this town. I know you went here as undergrad. You were our SGA president, went to law school here. I've never seen Tuscaloosa the way that it is. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait. Oh, man, I am so stinking excited. Hey, roll tide, guys.
Into a lot of different things. I mean, we got into a lot of different things, but a lot of people ask me from time to time, and they'll say, Ryan, you're a sports show. Why don't you talk politics? Well, I'm talking about life. Talking about life. This impacts all of us. When you look at the NIL, when you look at raising money, people going to tickets. I mean, I've heard people say this week, I can't go to this Alabama-Georgia game. Why? Because I spent money on the Alabama Power. I spent money on the grocery bill. I mean, those are real things that impact the intersection of sports and politics. I do think, listen, when you look at President Trump, there's a lot of things that I agree that he does. There's probably some things out there that he does that I don't agree with. I thought he governed probably even a little bit further to the right than I thought he would, because if you look at even the political scale, it has slidden so far left that even someone that was in the middle are now conservative. I think she mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. I think I've mentioned it. My parents were Democrats. Now, I would always aggravate my mom. My mom passed away a few years ago, and I know the Brits were – I mean, I can't tell you how many times they'd send me messages just encouraging. My mom was on a ventilator for 27 days, and I watched, people like that pass away because our government refused to allow the physicians to practice medicine. I saw that with my own eyes. I was at Vanderbilt Hospital, like I said, for 27 days. I watched, and I was looking for a job when I found this one. Thankfully, I've got a great boss that doesn't restrict my opinions, but also trying to restrict other people's opinions too. So I value your opinion. You and I may not agree, but that's what makes this country so awesome, is that we can sit here and have a debate, and we hope that it's a fair election, right? But I think it is fair for the American people to get to know who you're voting for, who is that person. Like, what do you stand for? What would you like to do to our country? And if you can't face true media members, then how are you going to sit down with these people that are absolutely a little bit crazy? So I do want to tell you about Blue Spring Living Water. Reese Davis just sent me a message. He just got out of the meeting. We're going to get to that, but something that we're going to be doing here just coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk to Reese Davis about ESPN College Game Day. He just got out of the meeting, so we'll get with him. But each week when we have this media availability report, which is an injury report that's released, we're going to have a sponsor. We're going to have injuries because we want to, health is a priority, right? Water is a priority. We have a local source in this state that is as healthy as any water in the entire country. When you look at Blue Spring Living Water, Newmont is a new oxygenated water, and it's something that I'm studying a little bit more about. But it's something that you can order. Katie Britt is actually a big fan of that. She actually has it delivered to Washington, D.C. So when you look at Blue Spring Living Water providing our injury report, let's get an injury report real quick. Last night, 7 o'clock, I'm refreshing my screen to try to get the injury report out. Okay, we did. We went through. Quay Russo, linebacker, probable. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, that didn't even look like a probable. Richard Young, the ankle injury, did not have to have tightrope surgery. That was good. The shot worked. It worked. Probable. He's ready to go. Jeremiah Alexander, probable. Then when you go to the Georgia side of things, Roderick Robinson, running back, he's out. Humphreys, which was the mono outbreak, he's out. Tate Ratledge, the big left guard, one of the top left guards, right guard. I believe he's a right guard. But he's one of the top guards in the upcoming NFL draft. He's out. You got questionables on the defensive line with Mikael Williams. And then you've also got White, wide receiver, out. Jordan Hall, defensive lineman, questionable. And then you got Warren Brinson, defensive lineman, is probable. So you got a lot of injuries on the other side. That injury report made possible by Blue Spring Living Water. Blue Spring Living Water. And matter of fact, we're going to give away just that same water that's shipped up to Washington, D.C. and all across the country. We're going to provide one of those. We're going to give some of those away tomorrow with a lot of other goodies as well. But we're also giving away those Georgia-Alabama tickets, and we'll take more phone calls coming up a little bit later. Reese Davis coming up, but I do tell you about Blue Spring Living Water. It is a natural spring up in Blount County. The water can be delivered. We have it delivered to our home, 5 jugs a month, and it makes us actually drink more water. And when you have it conveniently there in your living room or your kitchen, we have an open room, so it's kind of a great room. So it's right there. It's hot or cold. You can have the water delivered via waterway of Birmingham. You can go to bluespringlivingwater.com, bluespringlivingwater.com. And they also offer a couple of different products there. You have the bottled water, or you can have the big jugs delivered to you. You can also find it at many different supermarkets like Rouse's Supermarket in the lower part of the state, Publix, which has it right here in the city of Tuscaloosa. Our good friends at Mark's Mark in downtown Northport, they carry that product, but you can also go to bluespringlivingwater.com. I want to take you to ESPN PR. I got this press release, and I said I'm going to use it later this week, and I'm going to be able to talk with Reese Davis, the host of ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. They are off to the best 4-episode start in College Game Day history. When you look at it, 2.2 million average viewers. It is the best start when you look at ESPN College Game Day. And the host of ESPN College Game Day that's going to be here in Tuscaloosa, we say congratulations to him. Reese Davis, welcome in. I hope you're having an amazing afternoon.
Hey, Ryan, how are you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, absolutely. Congratulations. I mean, that's a big accomplishment, and it's been a lot of fun to see Coach Saban there on the set with you guys.
Well, he's been awesome, and he has been a driving force behind those numbers that we're very grateful for that you mentioned coming into this segment. So he's been awesome to work with, both on camera and off, and we're very fortunate to have him and excited. He's brought a dimension to the show, I think, that it really, in its entire history, it's never had. Someone, certainly with his credentials, because no one has those credentials, and someone that closely removed from the height of the profession and stepping into TV. And, not just from a football expertise and excellence standpoint, but just from his skills as a gifted communicator, have been really just a joy to work with.
Knowing that he is a perfectionist, right? Anything he does, he's a perfectionist. I mean, does that part, you have to get him a little freelance a little bit, a little ad lib, or is he one of those that just loves every I dotted, every T crossed? He's got to have it planned. I mean, this guy crossed the bridge within 2 minutes at the same time every morning. How does that part of Nick Saban work into the game day set?
I think it shows up in his preparation. He's meticulous in all of the preparation, whether it's his film room segment or other segments that we do when things have, when things have come up that maybe he's gaining comfort with, and he addresses those. But I think the thing is he's such a smart guy, and he's such a good conversationalist, and he's such a good listener that, he's able to interject things that come to mind, and stories, anecdotes, or whatever may come to mind during the course of a conversation. He's able to weave those in seamlessly. And obviously the longstanding relationship that he's had with Kirk, and I think that, Nick and I have had a good relationship for a long time, but just over the last couple of years, the dynamic that he's developed with Pat, as it's like a formula that has worked for generations on Broadway and in the movies. It's the pairing that you would think wouldn't work, yet it works brilliantly. It's like the odd couple, so to speak. Yet they work together great. They have a great affinity for one another, and certainly they play off of each other beautifully. And I think it's something that we hoped for and have been really pleased to see in terms of the dynamic.
Reese, I don't know if other places are like Tuscaloosa, but the number one question that I have got all week, okay, I've worn out the F5 button right here because I know at some point you guys will release that, and I keep hitting F5, the guest picker. Is that the same way at other places, or is that just maybe a Tuscaloosa theme? Because I have been asked, not about Alabama, Georgia, probably more about the guest picker than what I think about Alabama, Georgia. Is that a theme every week where you guys go?
To a degree, but I do think it's a little more magnified here because when I first came on the show, I wasn't really aware of the dynamic that at times they felt like the guest pickers at times haven't quite had the Alabama tie that they would have liked. And I don't think that's that's become a little bit of a misconception, not just here, but everywhere over the years. It doesn't have to have an Alabama tie. Now, it's better. It doesn't have to have a homeschool tie. It's often better, but if you can get someone of, great star power or someone that's highly entertaining, then we're gonna do that. But I do think because of the perception that maybe they hadn't had as many of the close Alabama ties serving in that role as they had in the past. It has become a little more of a prevalent question here than elsewhere.
Who's the guest picker, Reese?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, okay.
I know who it is.
Okay. Well,
I know who it is.
Okay.
But I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be the one to spill it.
Okay. Will it have an Alabama flavor? Will it? Okay.
I think it is someone that Alabama people will enjoy.
Oh, okay. That's a good hint. Okay. All right. Reese Davis, let's go to the game. When you look at this game, Alabama and Georgia, it's a big one, and it's Kalen DeBoer kind of getting this big start. He's 12-2 all time against top 25 teams. When you look at this, what jumps off to you about this matchup?
I think the first thing is the big picture thing is not so much X and O, is just the twist in the matchup, because there's not the same familiarity that there has been with all of the previous ones since Kirby went to Georgia. And because of that, it's created a new dynamic. I don't think it's advantage or disadvantage to either side, because both staffs are quite accustomed to scouting new staffs and different personnel. But from an outside perspective, not having the familiarity and the intimate knowledge that both sides have had of each other over the years, have that be a little bit different is one of the more compelling things about this game. I think the other thing about it, Ryan, is the fact that the stakes aren't be-all, end-all, but it still feels like it. And I think that's really a testament to the excellence of both Alabama and Georgia over the last few years with the new 12-team playoff. A loss certainly won't be helpful, but it is, it's not devastating. So, I think that adds a little bit of a different twist to it. So those are the things that jump out. From an XO standpoint, I think it's, can Alabama, when it has the ball, not just be, as Nick has said, which is a really great way to put it, I think, as he often does, not be as big little. Keep the big, but have a little less of the little. And what he means by that is they have big plays or things that aren't as productive offensively. Can they be a little more on schedule while still supplementing it with the big plays? And then I think on the other side, Georgia is going to need a few more explosive plays than they've had. Their percentage of plays that go for 20 yards or so is not bad. It's sort of middle of the pack. But I think with a team of their caliber, you would have expected a little bit more. But you then also have to remember, okay, they've played Clemson and Kentucky. Those are two, Clemson, I think, can be a really good defense, and Kentucky, and, Kentucky's always tough, and they play Georgia tough, and there's a great familiarity there. So I think Alabama perhaps being a little more efficient in addition to their obvious explosive capabilities. And then Georgia maybe finding a little bit of explosiveness, because these two defenses are going to be difficult, I think, to put together, consistently put together 10, 12 play drives again.
Reese, you flew to Tuscaloosa the day after Nick Saban retired, and you sat down with him and kind of explained, and then you see Kalen DeBoer get the job. He's navigated this job almost to perfection. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably things that he could say I would have done different, but watching him navigate that responsibility and being respectful to what Coach Saban has built, how do you judge Kalen DeBoer in this first year and how he's navigated replacing the legend?
I can't imagine anyone with a more perfect temperament or demeanor to step into that role. And I think in order to have the perfect temperament and demeanor, some of that is just who Kalen is, but there's also great confidence because he's had tremendous success everywhere he's been. And he draws on a lot of those things. And he's the guy who gets excited talking about football. I got a chance to go over and visit with him a little bit this morning as practice was getting started. And he started talking about a drill that they had incorporated a different twist to it that he hadn't done before that he thought had really been beneficial for them. And he gets really excited talking about football. So that part of it is very much the same as Nick, who, is, you lean forward in your seat whenever he talks about football and in any regard. But I think in terms of what you're talking about, handling stepping into that role after the unprecedented success that Nick had here, I think Kalen's very confident. He understands his strengths and weaknesses. He understands how to, pay the proper respect to what has been done while still incorporating the things that he believes in. So, I can't imagine that there's anyone more well-suited to do it. Certainly, very few would have the same type of credentials to be able to assume the role as head coach at Alabama. But I sort of have looked at it this way. All the years I worked with Lou Holtz always used to say, they can give you the job, they can give you the title, they cannot make you the leader. I feel like that Kalen has become the leader, but I think just because of the magnitude of this game and the level at which Alabama has won, I know it's his program and I know he's taken over, but it sort of feels like Saturday night is when he really becomes the Alabama head coach. Regardless of wins or losses, it's almost like this job, this role commands that type and demands that type of stage. And, I think this is really the night when he assumes that role on the outside, obviously to the players and the administration and everybody. He's been the head coach since he took the job. But in a bigger picture, to have this national spotlight, this national stage, this is when he really, in the minds of the college football public, becomes the Alabama coach.
Hey, Reese, final thing. If I took a pulse of each one of you guys on game day sets, because you're at the biggest games in college football, but a game like this that's this magnitude, I mean, people are already calling it the game of the year, could be the game of the year. Is the excitement a little bit kind of uplifted if I went through all of you guys, the host and the analyst? And, I mean, do you feed off the crowd of the tension of a game like this?
I mean, there's no doubt we understand the significance of it, understand the significance of top four matchup between these two, elite powers, on ABC, all of those things. We understand that. But I do think there has to be a consistency in performance on the show. And so while there are things in the rundown that will reflect the magnitude of this game, I sort of cautioned everybody on Sunday, let's keep in mind that we are not just the Alabama-Georgia pregame show on game day.
Sure.
Now, Saturday night, leading into it on ABC, that will be our role on the field, is to be the Alabama-Georgia pregame show. But Saturday morning, while you might have an extra segment or two, an extra touch or two because of the magnitude of the game, you want some consistency in the way you deliver the show. But to answer your question about feeding off the crowd, we do. We fed off the crowd at South Carolina. That's for sure. You had a great crowd like that, and I think we're going to have a similar type crowd Saturday morning, hopefully because they love the show and hopefully because they want to celebrate college football and Alabama football with us and this rivalry with us. But I also know they're going to be really eager to come out and see Nick Saban, which they should. They should come out and give him a great deal of appreciation for the impact that he's had, not only on the football program, but the university, the city, and the state. Both he and Miss Terry have done remarkable things in order to use football as a vehicle for elevating a lot of people in a lot of different walks of life.
All right, so we could not get the guest picker out of you, but are you guys expecting to release that today, or will that to be tomorrow thing, or do you know?
I don't know I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
No problem.
You're really
man.
You're really
Reese, I'm only passing what these people. I mean, listen, I promise you, I have been asked more about the guest picker than Alabama Georgia breakdown. It's everywhere I go. Who's the guest picker? Who's the guest picker? I'm going to guess and say it's Miss Terry, but that's just me. It's just me. So
the fans will be pleased.
Okay.
I think the fans will. I think they will.
Okay, they will. I mean, if that sounds confident. I like the confidence. Hey, Race, enjoy your stay in Tuscaloosa, man. We always appreciate when you can make a couple of minutes for us, especially with a busy week like this one. Thank you again for being a part of our show.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Reese Davis, ESPN College Game Day host, and off to the hottest four-game start in the history of ESPN College Game Day. Certainly, Reese Davis is a huge part of that. Nick Saban bringing the ratings. Guest picker. I mean, Jackson, I tried. I mean, you got to give me a little.
You tried.
I mean, I squeezed.
Man of the people.
I twisted. People are like, when is going to be released? Well, I don't know. But he said we're going to be pleased. It's got to be Miss Terry. It's got to be.
Is that who you're thinking now?
Because I've went behind the scenes and I've talked with a couple of people that they thought it was going to be, and it's not. I kind of went double check, like, okay, who's on campus? Why are they on campus? Any chance they're on campus for an invitation? You see autograph signings, right? And okay, said we're going to be pleased. So
are you leaning Miss Terry then?
I'm leaning that way, but I mean, it's just an educated guess. But it's an WTBC. We're going to Brad Powers coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. We're also giving away tickets today, courtesy of BetU. Thank you. Appreciate Elliott Bond, the BetU app that you guys are so familiar with. They were part of our Rose Bowl coverage. They were part of our SEC Media Day coverage. When you look back at BetU, a social betting network app, when you log on, it's a free download. Sign up is easy. It's BetU. We appreciate Elliott Bond for giving us the opportunity to give away tickets. You can send bets directly to your friends or by messaging your friends. It's called BetU, and they gave us a pair of Georgia-Alabama tickets that we're going to be giving away tomorrow afternoon, but you can get in today. You can put your name in the hat today by calling. We'll take phone calls coming up in just a couple of minutes. Elias, don't go anywhere. You're going to be the first one out of the gate, and we'll have a chance we'll give more details coming up in a couple of minutes. Tuscaloosa Toyota powers the program. The 2025 Camry, 3.99 APR for 36. The RAV4 as low as 3.99 APR. And if you're looking for a new Tundra, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, you can find that as low as 1.99 with a $2,000 loyalty cash. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We had Reese Davis on a couple of minutes ago. We had Katie Britt on. We had Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Now Brad Powers, a professional handicapper, Brad Powers Sports, Brad Powers 7. Brad, welcome to a busy Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hope you're having a great day.
Hey, thanks for having me, as always.
All right, Brad, I don't want to box you in. When you look at this Alabama-Georgia game, from your perspective, give me the things that you're watching that will decide the outcome.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I would say the most important stat as far as covering point spreads is the turnover battle, especially when the margins are extremely tight. So, I mean, whatever quarterback can take care of it. I mean, I would trust both at this point, maybe back a little bit more as far as taking care of the football. But, I mean, that'll be number one. Number two, I think the matchup is that Alabama offensive line that did their part last year when they were able to obviously upset Georgia in the SEC championship game. Can they hold their own? They don't have to necessarily win the battle, but if they can, and not give up 5-6 sacks, a la, early on in the Michigan game in the semifinal, I think that would go a long way in determining the game. Georgia needs, third thing for me, Georgia needs somebody at the skill position outside of Carson Beck to step up and become kind of a go-to guy. Haven't seen it yet. That's one of the reasons why they struggled against Kentucky. So, I'm anxious to see what like a Ryan Williams does, provided he doesn't have the same success that he's had so far in his entire career. I'm guessing that the defensive back that no matter what coverage George is in is going to be the best that he's seen in his lifetime. So I think how does he handle adversity? So honestly, more questions than answers because neither. Has played. I mean, obviously Georgia played Clemson, and if they play like that, and there's going to be. I'm not going to say it's a long night in Tuscaloosa, but I mean, I think Georgia would win the game. But it's a game that I really haven't bet. This week after deep diving, I did a deep dive podcast where we just talked about this game for like an hour. After doing that podcast, I lean towards Georgia being the right side here, so that's not going to. Make everybody happy there in Tuscaloosa. But you know me. I mean, I'm more about the wallet than I am anything else. I don't have any biases. But after doing that podcast, I lean with the Bulldogs.
Okay. You like this line? Do you think it should be more? You think it should be less? I mean, we're looking at it across the board, 1.5, 2, 2.5. I mean, we've watched this line move a little bit. It's been some movement. That's why I'm bringing it up. But do you like this line where it is currently? I'm looking at most places at 2. We'll just say 2 points. Is that a fair line?
I think it's a fair line. I would not expect to see much movement.
Okay.
Because if it got to 3 being a key number, you're going to see buyback on Alabama, in my opinion. So it's just, just because I always say this, just because it's the biggest game of the year doesn't mean it's the best value bet. So we haven't seen hardly any movement. Hey, just to prove it, I mean, I bet this game, believe it or not, 9 months ago, when the Saban news hit, I bet Georgia. So I do have a Georgia ticket, but I laid 2.5 at the time when the Saban announced his retirement, because at that time I thought, oh, this Alabama roster is going to get poached, and I don't know what Alabama is going to look like. But Alabama hired the right coach. They held on to more players than expected, and here we are now, 9 months later, and it's right around where it was, back in January.
Brad, do you buy into it that these teams have kind of kept some things in their back pocket? Because even, the defensive coordinator talked about it. The offensive coordinator has kind of talked about it, and they use different words to describe it. Georgia, when you look at the 3 opponents that they've played, you look at the 3 opponents that Alabama's played, certainly, Clemson's quality, Kentucky's quality, Alabama, Western Kentucky, South Florida on the road at Wisconsin. Do you buy that these 2 coaches may be holding some things back for this game, understanding the magnitude of it?
Yeah, I think the bye week certainly allowed, and it's young in the season. You can self-scout, hey, what's been working, what hasn't. There's going to be some different formations and some different plays on both sides that they're going to dial up in this game. Not saying that they held back anything. I mean, obviously, Georgia, has played Clemson, which was, at least on paper, a high-level caliber team, and then was in an absolute dogfight where I'd hope they were showing their best stuff against Kentucky in order to win the game at the end, because obviously the outcome was in doubt. And obviously, Alabama, the outcome was, believe it or not, kind of in doubt, middle of the fourth quarter against South Florida. So I don't buy that they were strictly holding anything back specifically for this game. But the bye week allows you probably to dial up a few things, lean on some more things that are working, maybe tweak a few things. So yeah, we'll see a formation or two that we haven't seen so far this season.
Brad, when you look at the other games around, I want to stay in this state, and I want to go back to Auburn, Arkansas from your perspective. When you look back at this game, it was nasty. It's been one of those that we've talked about, the turnovers, and Auburn's now got an uphill battle to even get to 6 wins to get to bowl eligibility. It starts this weekend, but any thoughts on Auburn and Arkansas from this past weekend?
Yeah, it just turnovers are everything to the point spread. You win the turnover battle, it's like 70+% against the spread. So, there are 2 losses, -8 turnover margin. Nobody can win football games with that. You don't have the quarterback on the roster. Hugh Freeze, this goes back not just this year. I tweeted this out. This is a guy in his last 20 games as a head coach is 8-12. And he's been favored in 14 of the 20 games. So it's not like he's playing Alabama every week. So just underperforming, to say the least. I agree with you. The loser of this game, it's an unbelievably important game. Obviously the headliner's there in Tuscaloosa, but I look at a game like Oklahoma-Auburn, it's just as important because the loser's probably not going to make a bowl game. Can you imagine those fan bases if they don't make a bowl game? There's going to be hell to pay. So as far as the value in this game, I did bet Auburn, but it was just a numbers play for me. I took it at 3.5 around a key number. I'm always going to, if I think I got an edge, I'm going to take it. But is that an extremely high confident bet that I made? No, because right now the Tigers are a box of chocolates. Provided they play a clean football game, then I can see them beating Oklahoma. But can you really count on that at this point? I'm not sure. But on the other side, Oklahoma's starting a new quarterback making his first career road start. Oklahoma hasn't played a road game yet this season, so that's when we're going to figure out a heck of a lot about both of those teams.
Kentucky goes to Ole Miss. They go there as a major underdog. Ole Miss at home in Oxford minus the 17.5.
Yeah, it's the first decent test for Ole Miss, although they're still a significant favorite. I'm anxious to see if they get punched back a little bit. Kentucky's not going to be, in my opinion, overwhelmed, but the thing it is, Kentucky played Georgia really tough. They should be able to play Ole Miss. Well, the style of play that Georgia plays kind of placates into Kentucky. That's why most seasons Kentucky keeps that game relatively close. This one's a little bit different. Obviously, Lane can keep it wide open. Can Kentucky play in space? I'm not sure. Ole Miss's defense has been lights on when you're only giving up 35 rushing yards per game. That's telling me that you're just not serious about winning games. You're serious about winning the whole dang thing. But we'll see if they can hold up at the point of attack. Kentucky was able to run on Georgia. I think that's the matchup to look at here. If Kentucky can run like they did on Georgia, then they're going to stay within this number. if they can't, then they have no shot. Then it's going to be a blowout.
Arkansas, Texas A&M in Arlington neutral site. Texas A&M -4.
Yeah, another incredibly important game for both, because the loser's not going to meet preseason expectations. It's a really important game for Sam Pittman. If he can win, then he can, that hot seat starts cooling quite a bit with a 4-1 start and a couple of upsets, and could have had another at Oklahoma State. Kind of a unfortunate, loss for them. A&M. I'm not going to knock them too much for the Bowling Green performance, because I just watched Bowling Green the week before at Penn State, kind of on the ropes. So we'll find out a lot about A&M with the young team and the young staff. I did bet Arkansas. I took 6. I'd still lean 4 here. So I'm leaning with the Hogs.
Oklahoma State, Kansas State, 3-1, Kansas State at home in Manhattan -5.
That's going to sound like a broken record. I mean, the loser is not going to meet preseason expectations. I'm not going to say the season's over, but I mean, it'd be back-to-back losses. They'd have certainly an uphill climb. This is handicapping 101. That's going to have me on the Kansas State side. Oklahoma State's misleading final last week. They lost by 3. If you watched that game, they were down 22-3 with about 7 minutes left in the game. Then they got a couple of what I'd call garbage time drives. The other game, Kansas State, they got blown out by BYU. Well, if you watched that game, and I'm sure most wasn't because it was a late night game in Provo, they led 6-0 with about 2 minutes left in the first half. And then 7 minutes of game time later, they're somehow trailing 31-6. It was a bunch of turnovers, defensive touchdown, punt return touchdown. So they're better than that final. I'm going to take Kansas State here.
The Illini went to Nebraska, got the win. They're 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten. This time's a little bit tougher task. They got to go to a top 10 team in Penn State. They're at University Park, Pennsylvania. They go there as a 19.5-point underdog. The Illini, 6:30 NBC Saturday evening.
I expected to bet Penn State. I just thought spot screen Penn State in this game. Illinois, back-to-back big-time road games. I certainly don't have Illinois as highly ranked as they are in the AP poll, but man, the number came a lot higher than I expected. So just to prove that bet numbers, not teams. Current number, I'd lean Illinois, because I think the way they are built, they can have some success here. I mean, if you watched Bowling Green and how they took advantage of some of Penn State's inefficiencies on defense, they worked the tight end. Well, that's exactly what Illinois did against Nebraska last week. So I'm going to lean here with Illinois. Having, made a big bet, though, on that one.
This may be a game that really didn't grab your attention, but from a former Saban assistant, you've got Maryland, Mike Locksley, 3-1, 0-1 in the Big Ten, but you've got Indiana with Kirk Cignetti, which is also a former Nick Saban assistant, 4-0, 1-0 in Indiana. We've got some ties back to Indiana because there's so many coaches that coach there with Kalen DeBoer. Indiana 4-0 at home, Bloomington -7, Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, as impressive as Indiana's been, and it's been ultra impressive because, statistically, this is a team that's number 6 in yards per play margin, number 5 in yards per game margin, number 6 in points per game margin. The strength of schedule hasn't been great. Maryland's played a little bit tougher schedule. I bet Maryland this week, but again, it was above a key number, 7. Anything above 7, I think Maryland's worth a bet. But another important game where, conference, we're going to find out about both. Because if Indiana, I tweeted this last week, Indiana wins this game. Again, looking at their schedule with key games against Nebraska and Michigan at home, they are likely to be favored in every game but one, and that being at Ohio State in late November. So, if they can take care of business here, we could be looking at Indiana, possible, sneaky playoff contending team.
Brad Powers, BradPowers7.com, Brad Powers Sports. You can find him there. He likes Georgia to beat Alabama here in Tuscaloosa. Well, Brad, we're kind of happy that you picked Georgia because I must tell you, we've had too much love from the national analysts like yourself picking Alabama to beat Georgia. So it's good to get a little bit of balance out there because I was starting to get worried that we had too many people picking Alabama. So I'm glad you kind of helped us balance it back out just a little bit because I don't want all this rat poison going to their head.
Funny, but I'm sure you'll clip it up if Alabama wins and I look like an idiot.
No. I've never done that to you. I've never done that to you.
No, it's fine. You should. Because I stick by my word. The difference is that I actually bet my word. So No, the more I dive in, I think, unfortunately for Alabama fans, I think it's not going to be a great night. I don't think Georgia's going to win convincingly, but I do think Georgia wins.
Okay. Well, we'll have some crow waiting for you next Thursday, but that's all we'll do. That's all we'll do. Brad Powers, 7, BradPowersSports.com. Brad, I appreciate your time, man. Have a great rest of your week.
Hey, thanks for having me as always.
Thank you. Brad Powers helping us out there. Let's continue with more of the game. We're taking your phone calls. Elias, get ready. Super Joe, get ready. We're coming to you guys coming up in a couple of minutes. We're giving away Georgia-Alabama tickets. We've got more K1 Aboard audio. We're going to have a little fun today, right? We've had a big guest lineup today. I knew this was going to happen on a Thursday. It just all kind of came together with Thursday guests. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit lighter day. I did that for you guys because we'll do our parlay pick contest presented by Brian Harden Construction. Brian Harden Construction. I do want to remind you about the Standard Bama, home of the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni, meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. You got cheese sticks, you got wings, you got boneless wings, you got mac and cheese bites. Full-service restaurant also. Back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. The Wharf. If you look at the work in Western wear for the entire family, you'll find it at the Wharf since 1976. McFarland Boulevard. If you're going westbound, you'll pass by El Gran Patreon, which is one of great favorite Mexican places here in Tuscaloosa. The next stop, you'll go to that next shopping center right there on the Wharf. If you pass by the Blue Plate, you went too far. It's the work in Western wear for the entire family. Go see our great friends right there at the Wharf since 1976. Since 1976, Justin, Tony Lima, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. Carhartt Clothing, you'll find those. It is the Wharf since 1976. Let's go to Elias. Elias, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
Roll Tide, Ryan. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was trying to get your attention with Reese and say, hey, I ain't made an appearance in a while.
I mean, could you be the guest picker, Elias?
Oh, I should. I definitely would be.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: have you already got that phone call?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, I'm sorry, Elias. You're probably not that guy then. They've jumped over you again. So
right. Yeah. Did I miss the score petition day?
You did. You did, but you can share it with us. You can share it with us. I'm curious what you think. All right.
Yeah, I have 28-21 the good guys.
Okay. Why do you think that? Just give me your thoughts here.
I think it's going to be a hard-fought game throughout the entire game. I think it's still going to be one of those, 20, between the 20-28 scoring range. Because past history, if you look at it, that it hasn't really been a high-score Georgia-Alabama game for a while. So I think it's going to be one of those type games again. So that's why I say 28-20, Bama.
Okay. And Brad doesn't really like Alabama. I respect Brad's opinion, but that's okay. We need some balance it out. I'm trying to find some haters out here to see if we can, this Lank mentality. Nobody's doubting. Exactly. That's the problem. We got to create some doubters. We got to make them up somehow. I'll be looking for people on the street to pick Georgia. So got to find a way. But Elias, we're giving away tickets for Alabama and Georgia. You have obviously the first caller out of the gate. We'll put your name in, but now to be eligible to win, you got to go down and not bet. You just got to download the BetU app and register. So we will give those away tomorrow. Now you don't have to go out there and you're welcome to put a bet out there. But if you go download the BetU app, we'll have you. And the Georgia-Alabama tickets. And Jackson is actually going to be the guy that's going to be drawing. We're going to put this pressure on him tomorrow, and we'll give away some Georgia-Alabama tickets. So roll Tide.
That'll be great. If I become the lucky winner, I have a buddy flying in tomorrow morning from Hawaii, one of my military buddies.
Okay.
Coming in town from the game, so that would be great.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun with it. And, I looked for tickets a lot of different ways, but Elliot Bond called me from BetU and said, hey, let's give away a pair of tickets. I said, let's do it. Talk to me.
Awesome.
And so, anytime we can reward those faithful listeners like you and many others. And for those out there listening, you do not have to call in because we know people not everybody likes to call and, be on the air. But you can also go straight to BetU and download the app, and all those new registers will be put in the line as well. So there you go. BetU, a free mobile betting app. And we like to I like to look at the lines a little bit. I like to see what it's all about because I think we feature 3 handicappers because handicappers remove the bias. They're biased toward one thing: green, money, winning. Vegas. You think Vegas gives a darn about Alabama? No, they won't.
All about the Benjamins.
All about the Benjamins. All about the Benjamins. Elias, anything else, my friend?
No, sir. I just pray right now that everybody have a safe and fun weekend. Let's make this weekend fun and enjoyable. Even though we're cheering for our teams, but at the same time, enjoying college football. That's what it's all about this weekend.
Yeah. It's it's a lot of fun, but I want to win too. I want to win.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell you this: I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm so confident. I'm concerned. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying.
I'm so confident. I'm concerned with my confidence. I think Alabama's going to win the game, but it's one of those that I'm so confident. It's like, where did I miss something? Where did I go wrong?
Right.
When I look at the Dogs, they're a great-looking football team. Carson Beck's a great quarterback. But is this the same? The way that I rationalize this in my head is when I look back at Georgia, I think they're a lesser team than they were this time when we played them in Atlanta in the SEC title game. Absolutely. I think in a lot of areas, Alabama's better. I mean, you can start with the quarterback. A year starting, a offensive coordinator that's a little bit different. I'm not trying to throw stones at Tommy Rees, but I don't think he used the strengths of Jalen Milroe. Kalen DeBoer being an offensive-minded guy with Nick Sheridan, with Jamarcus Shepard, the co-offensive coordinator. They have the system, and you can see it. You can see his swagger. You can see the confidence in him believing in the system. And
I've been saying that since last year. If he uses to his strengths, you'll see a different Milroe.
And I think we're seeing that.
Yes, sir.
Dogs. They're eating the dogs. I've seen those memes everywhere. They're beautiful. I
love them.
Yeah,
make me laugh.
They do. But I want to remind you, if you're looking for a great place to eat, there's 2 places that we want to invite you to. There's a lot of places, and we'll be talking about some of our great restaurants. Southern Ale House. For those that are just coming into town, you say, where's a great place to eat? Let me give you a great recommendation. All of us, we don't ever talk about the Big Ten cuisine. I mean, no offense. Nobody says, hey, have you tried that Michigan hamburger? No, I mean, it's Southern cuisine. Eat Southern, be Southern. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. That's the original location. Matter of fact, they've got music on the patio. They're also open up at Dockside on Lake Tuscaloosa. Go up and have the fried shrimp is simply amazing. Brett Garner cooking up some great items there. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, and also Dockside. They're open both lunch and dinner options at both locations today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. Only at Dockside, open until 4 p.m. They'll do brunch there. So if you want to go get the little celebration before you leave town, it is Southern Ale House, Dockside, Southern Ale House, Dockside. Go see those guys and tell them the game sent you. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. It's a family-owned restaurant. You can find it at Southern Ale House, and a great place to enjoy music on the patio. Let's go to Super Joe. Super Joe's a big Donald Trump guy. Super Joe, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, what's going on, partner, man? I tell you what, I'm going to put my hat in there for the Alabama-Georgia ticket since y'all bulked that up.
All right. Well, then here's the rules, though. Here's the rules. Super Joe, I've written your name down. You will be a part of it. To be qualified, you need to go download the BetU app and just register. It's all you got to do. You don't have to go out and throw a $100 bill out. Just go register. BetU. Download the app. BetU. Simple BetU, just like the letter. You don't spell it Y-O-U, just U. Download it. And we will be drawing those out tomorrow at 5:30. We're going to give away a pair of tickets. Jackson is going to put every name in on a spinner on a name generator, and we will videotape that, and we will put the winner will win a Georgia-Alabama pair of tickets for this weekend.
Okay, that's all, baby. I'm going to get on there when I get off the phone with you.
All right.
And I'll tell you what, I heard Georgia going to be winning some. I heard Georgia going to be wearing some prison colors, I heard. Somebody put it on Facebook, they're supposed to be wearing some black and white stripes.
That was probably sarcastic, if I would guess.
Because we'll go ahead and we'll beat them, let them know what the jail sentence is all about.
Well, I mean, now, they have been arrested quite a bit. I mean, they're trying to challenge Urban Meyer's record of having all those players arrested.
Well, I'll tell you, they can play that game all they want, but
it's true. I mean, I that's one of the records that they want. And Kirby says I can't get Nick Saban anymore. He was 1-5 against Coach Saban. They've lost 8 out of the last 9. They're 45-0 against everybody else. They're 1-3 against Alabama in that time span. We are their kryptonite, and we have stopped. I mean, think about it. You know, Alabama's been on a dominant run. But look back at Georgia. Look at national titles. I mean, you could even go back to 2012 when we beat them. They would have won the national title. They would have beat Notre Dame that year. We stopped them then.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say one thing about it. The anaconda, gets comfortable when he whoops the python. That great anaconda can whoop that reticulated python. But one thing he did not know, the bigger snake at the time was the Titana boa. That was like a 55-inch and about 140-foot snake that was extinct. But we are the Titana boa that stays on the reef surface. So I'll tell you what, Georgia then looked very weak against Kentucky. They struggled. But I'll tell you what, come Saturday, we knocking them the cluck out. If Kalen DeBoer said they're ready, we're gonna take Kalen DeBoer's word and we're gonna dominate. We'll be ranked up 2 notches. And I'll tell you what, Alabama beats Georgia. I'm gonna go ahead and start making plans to go to the SEC championship.
Okay, you're ready, huh? You're ready?
I'll be real about it. I got to get my bus tickets, my money out first. Then I go ahead and do it.
Take a bus to Atlanta?
Well, yes, boss. I'm on the Alumni Association, so I'm like a contributor. I ain't one of the big dogs to be truth to be told.
Okay.
But I'm a show make.
Well, you've been doing that for a long time, riding the bus to these games.
I ride the bus because save my gas.
Yeah. So what do they charge you to get on the bus? What, $30, $40?
Well, no. You go in Atlanta. No, Alumni Association. No, you're gonna pay some Benjamin.
Okay.
You're gonna pay the Benjamin.
Okay.
And then maybe a little bit more. But I can do that. All you gotta do, lay a little money aside. 20 here, 20 there, 20 there. Let it build up if you like doing construction work. And then guess what? When it's time for the paper book, boom, you got it.
I got you. Well, sound like you got a plan.
Well, yeah. Like the man say, like the old promoter say, Daddy's got a plan. And Super Joe keeps an ace up his sleeve.
All right. Hey, whoa! You didn't give me your thoughts on the Georgia-Alabama game. I mean,
I think we got a good 35-14 victory.
All right, 35-14. So, I mean, you guys do know they're number 2, right? They're number 2 in the country.
Number 2, but guess what? Joe Frazier was the heavyweight champion in 1973 and brought his son to thought he was going to have an easy day in office against George Foreman. But what in the hell happened? Deja vu. He was knocked down 6 times within 2 rounds. And all of a sudden, at the end of the fight, what did Harold Cosell say? Smoking Joe Frazier, I'm terribly sorry.
I love it, Super Joe. We love your energy, man. Roll Tide to you.
Take care, partner.
Right back to you. Super Joe helping us out there. That leaves, it's a great place to eat. Got to be looking for great spots throughout the weekend. Big Mike's, downtown Moundville. That's about 15 minutes from where I'm located here on Skyland Boulevard. But if you folks that are in Tuscaloosa, probably about a 20-minute drive from downtown, maybe a little bit less than that, but it's definitely worth the steak if you're into that. Got some great options when you look at the great ribeye. It's been voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association in multiple publications as the best steak in the state of Alabama. You'll find Big Mike's throughout the state, Guntersville, Andalusia, Orange Beach. Auburn, you guys can be proud of something other than a football team. They've even got a Big Mike's over there. But we love the location in downtown Moundville. Go over and see our friends. The Big Mike's special this week. And read through those. Looked at those just a couple of hours ago. So you got the chicken bacon ranch pasta. Salmon's the fish of the day. And you can find some great options at Southern Ale House. Big Mike's. I tied 2 sponsors there together. Southern Ale House is a great place, but Big Mike's, 15 minutes from where I'm located here. Not 15:30, but 15 minutes from where I'm located. Big Mike's, downtown Moundville. Let's continue here. Let's go Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, Roll Tide, Ryan. How are you?
Roll Tide. Yeah, good.
It's been a little raining up here. I was fighting some heavy rain from this storm. I'm glad it's going to be I'm glad it's not going to affect you guys.
Well, we seem to be what they call on the dry side, which doesn't make any sense from a scientific approach, but we're on the dry side of the hurricane, which all of our friends over there, whether it's in Georgia, you guys are going to be hit pretty hard, and we're certainly thinking about you.
Yeah, everything Georgia north. So anyhow, Ryan, I talk about the game. I really believe if our defensive line can get Carson Beck on the run, he is nowhere near the quarterback that he is when he's got time. I mean, the same thing could be said for Jalen Milroe, too. But I like our defensive line against their offensive line right now. What do you think about that?
You like our offensive line our defensive line against their offensive line?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a big advantage for us.
Well, there's two areas that concern me from an Alabama, and I think Rodney Orr pointed this out earlier. The wide receivers running wide open, and you had quarterbacks that missed them. Carson Beck won't miss those. We had wide receivers running wide open. Now, Western Kentucky is probably a little better team than maybe what we thought. I mean, they've went on to now win 3 games and pretty impressive doing it. But Carson Beck won't miss those. And the tackling has got to be better in the trenches. We gave up way too many rushing lanes. Way too many. Got to fix that. Can you fix it in a week? I don't know. Only time will tell.
You know, how many of those, Ryan, was the true freshman in their first ball game, though?
Well, I was talking more about the Wisconsin game.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I noticed Red Morgan played less in the Wisconsin game, and I like Red from a run support standpoint, but he's been burned. He was burned in that first few weeks. He's been burned a few times, and you're right. The quarterbacks have not taken advantage when they have burned him. But I noticed the participation last week had Devontae Smith with 50-something plays and Red with 22. I just wonder now that we get into the SEC schedule, will the key players that they've been kind of working through get more reps than they did before?
Okay.
And I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
You know? But I do like, did you see what Chuck Morrell said about Kalen DeBoer? The quote, did you see that quote on Twitter?
I don't think I did. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just something that we already knew about Kalen. But Chuck Morrell, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it's pretty much the quote, said that people see the nice guy, the smiling, he's always happy, always positive.
Yes, he is.
But what people don't sometimes see is he is an elite competitor. You know, I kind of think he's that solid assassin, Ryan, and now we're not running the same kind of team that Georgia was running. In the past, under Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, it's been tit for tat. Both schools were the same style, and we're not that style offensively or defensively. So I think that's going to be very telling in this game too. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. You know, of course, you know my score prediction was like the largest margin on the. I don't know if it's still the largest margin anybody's called in.
Between you and what was your score? What was your score? I don't have it right here in front of me. I mean, it's across the glass here.
42 to 10. And I heard
Greg and Alabaster was up there too.
Yeah, 42 to 17 was his. Yeah. So we'll see, Ryan. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
I've already downloaded the Bet app. So
okay.
I get Georgia anyhow, so don't write me down.
Yeah, well, I got you down anyway, so I got you down. So if you win them, you can
figure it out. If I win them, I'll figure it out. Believe me.
Yeah, you can figure it out. You can sell them, whatever you want to do. But there you go. Thanks, Stephen.
I think we're going to lose because you know better than that with me. I've been through the roof all week long. Of course, I've been through the roof all season long, and I do think we're going to not mop the floor with them, but I do think we're going to beat them pretty handily. So, because I think we got a better team. I really do. Like I said, Tuesday or Monday, I believe it is. I think our wide receivers stack up better. I think our tight ends stack up better. I'd take our running backs over their running backs, and I definitely take our quarterback over their quarterback. So, I mean, what else could I say? But I've been working on something.
But now, hold on.
Go ahead.
I know your energy. Did you wear yourself out early this week?
Dude, I'm telling you, Monday, yesterday, and today has been something else at work.
Okay, because you sound drained. Yeah, you sound
tired.
Yeah, you sound drained.
This
You
evening.
do.
But okay, but no, my energy will be. I'll have that energy by Saturday for sure. But because tomorrow's Friday, we get through tomorrow, we're good. But no, it's been something else. I'm just glad I don't have to deal with any Boog fans, because the one Boog fan I have at work, I looked at him, and you remember last year how Jermaine Burton looked at the Georgia fans and he gave them that heartbreak symbol, and he was just taunting them. I looked at Bryce earlier today, and I did the heartbreak symbol, and he just shook his head. So that made me kind of laugh through the day and get my day through a little bit more, messing with some Boogs. But no, yes, I am drained. I will say that. But I will give you something special. I haven't fully perfected it yet, but I think it works. I want to give you a small rendition of an Alabama version of Country Road. Okay?
Okay, now hold on. I want to make sure. I want to make sure I got this correct. You want to give me a Country Roads Alabama version
cover? Yes, an Alabama cover, not by the group, but about.
Do you need music? Do you need music underneath it?
No.
Okay, all right. So
I can do it a cappella.
Jackson, are you hearing this? I mean, this guy's fixing to do Country Roads Alabama edition. All right, here we go.
You ready?
We are ready.
Almost heaven, Tuscaloosa, Bryant Denny, winning natty titles. All my memories, they surround me, but my favorite ones are beating the Bull Puppies. Roll Tide, Ryan. I love it.
Roll Tide, Josh. Beautiful. Josh, I mean, this is, this is awesome. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I've been working on that for a little bit, but I love it.
Josh,
so, and it is Georgia Hate Week.
That's pretty
good,
man.
And I know I've been pinch hitting.
Yeah.
And I know I've been pinch hitting for Mitchell. I know I've been pinch hitting for Mitchell, but I may or may not get in tomorrow, because I know Fridays are nuts with parlay picks. So right. I'm not going to do the You're Next, but I do this. Brian, are you ready?
I am ready.
I know. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Do you believe?
I do believe. I believe so much.
Simon, Jackson, do you believe?
I believe.
Simon, do you believe that the Alabama Crimson Tide can beat the Georgia Bull Puppies?
I believe.
Because our fight song does say go teach the Bulldogs to behave. So, hey, let's go do it. So, all right, guys, Roll Tide. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Let's go to Rick, which is Bama Nick's brother. Is this what I'm reading? Is this correct?
This is correct.
Rick, first-time caller into the game. Rick, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hi, Ryan. This is Rick, of course. I'm Bama Nick's brother, and he's been on me to call in and chat with you.
Well, super.
I'm up in Mooresville, North Carolina,
okay.
And been in North Carolina for a while, but I bleed Crimson Red, so I believe Alabama will take care of business at home Saturday night. I was looking on the Tide app, and there's like 5 sportscasters on there, and they're all predicting the Tide to win. Pretty close, though. 27-24 seems to be the average, and I believe that's what I believe in. 27-20, something like that, 27-23.
Okay. So now, are you as crazy as your brother, or is he got...
Well, I'm the oldest, and I kind of taught him on how to be crazy, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But he gets a lot of it from me, but...
well, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. Now, we're thinking about our buddy, because he's down... he's the number one caller to this program. I'm sure he's probably told you.
Yeah, he's bragged on that a bit.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine. But we're thinking about our buddy, because he's down in, close to the hurricane that's coming in Category 3. Actually, they just upgraded it literally just a couple of seconds ago. Now it is a major Cat 4. So it just reached the miles per hour that it qualifies to be. So Helene is a Category 4, and we're thinking about our buddy Americus, Georgia. Bama Nick, be safe over there, man. 130 mile per hour right now.
Yeah, I'm watching it on the Weather Channel right now, and it looks pretty nasty. I was wondering, do you know how it's going to affect the game tomorrow? Is Tuscaloosa in the path of this thing? Are they going to get enough rain to play in the rain, or what?
We're actually on the dry side of the hurricane.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if that really makes sense.
The initial forecast was that we would get rain.
Yeah, we would. Yeah. They told us that we were going to get rain, and then the rain just kind of it didn't make it, or the forecast changed. So so we didn't.
Well, that's wonderful. That's awesome. Good. It would be good and dry for us to whip the bull puppies into submission.
Yeah, I'd like to take them to the woodshed Saturday evening. I'd like to kind of make them think.
Well, you got to remember now. This is DeBoer's first home game against the major SEC foe, and I think that he wants to come out and show Saban and the world that there's no drop off in the Tide. And I don't believe there is. I really like this guy. I think he's an excellent coach, and was the right one.
Yeah.
And the right one to take over from Saban, and the kids seem to play for him real well. So if we just don't commit all them stupid penalties, I think we'll be okay. But there are some referees in that conference that don't like us. I've seen that, especially the ones up in Tennessee 2 years ago, flag happy on us. We'd have won that game if they don't call that interception. That we returned a foul on that. But so there are some officials that are real sorry in the SEC, and I hope we don't get those.
Okay. And I have not heard which officiating crew that, but I'll tell you what, I can find that out. I think I can find that out. So let me see what I can work on. Let me see what I can work on that one. But hey, Bama Rick, I got to get to the break, man. But it's good to hear your voice, and it's good to meet you virtually on the air. And thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. And don't be a stranger, man. We're just a bunch of we're just a bunch of country bumpkins talking about the Crimson Tide. So
I listen to you when I'm walking on a treadmill, Planet Fitness a lot of times. So
okay,
I've been listening to the station. I just haven't had a chance to call in, but I enjoyed talking with you, and we're all Tide.
Thank you. Ian Romulus, Tommy, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ron. How are you?
Hey, good. Tommy, get that smartphone out.
Okay.
Download BetU.
It said BetU.
BetU. Letter U. You. Yeah.
And it came up. Ron Fowler is a fraud. I don't know where that came from.
Okay, well, I don't know either.
Whatever.
Fake news. Is that CNN reporting that? Is that no, I'm sorry.
No. I don't know. It's just, there's so much fake and little trolls running around these days. You can't believe anything you hear anymore.
I agree with you. Tommy, you see that Goodyear blimp out there floating around?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No. Why is this game so much more critical for Coach K than it is for Kirby?
I'm sorry?
Why this game is going to set his destiny at Alabama?
I'm not sure I'm
national
following.
media is making out to be he's not going to be successful if you don't win this game at Alabama.
Who is saying that?
The national media.
Well, turn it off.
Guys, say who?
Turn it off. It's.
Well, yeah. It's these guys you call talking head. It's just like, so we gonna be dumb as Auburn, fire coach after a year? Good Lord, 18 months. Make up lies about him if he don't beat Georgia. I'm like, I think he got a very good chance of winning Georgia. What's the meltdown going to be Monday if he beats Georgia?
I think I go back to the pressure. The pressure is on Georgia more than it is Alabama. I disagree.
Yeah. I mean, the man wants to win. Alabama is going to do everything in their power to win. So is Georgia. It's going to be a great football game. But it's just like, well, this will define his time at Alabama. No, if both teams, each team lose the game, it's not going to be out of the playoffs. There's a lot of other games to be played. This is an important game because it's the next one. Hey, if we win, you can put the foundation across, then we worry about the next 4 games.
So are you saying I can't talk about Vanderbilt this week, Tommy?
No.
Okay.
Vanderbilt is Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I know you're like the rule guys that keep us in the rules. So
well, stay focused. Respect your opponent. You might not like them.
You've been Sabanized. That's your problem, man.
I've been Sabanized, stolen size, and Bryant size. So you name
What'd you
it,
say? Sabanized, circumcised, and what?
No, Bryant size.
Oh, Bryant size. I thought you said circumcised.
I did not say circumcised. Gee whiz. I think you're getting into something you're not supposed to be getting. Are you drinking on the job now?
I did have toe surgery this morning. Yeah, I did. I did have toe surgery.
I had a lung test this afternoon, so hey.
Yeah. So I can't feel my foot, but it has nothing to do with my mouth. But sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. Does that make sense?
It'll be good. You won't be able to taste it.
Yeah. Yep.
Or your toes won't taste. Never mind.
Yeah, I got toe jam too.
Oh, well, that's nice to know. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got a toenail that just continues to I don't know, kick my butt. So I'm giving it one more shot. If not, I'm going to pull the whole thing
I have
out.
to do what Ellis does. Go to get you a pedicure.
I don't know any real men that do that.
Well, that's the little Chinese women talking Cantonese. While they talking in Cantonese, they cuss you like, hey, telling you that your toes sucks. But, we won't go there.
Man.
Yeah. They are not talking to you nice when they talking to each other in Cantonese. Trust me. Have you seen this fat boy with toes? My God. Well, look at my set over here. Oh, you don't look like you have worn a pair of shoes.
Tommy, we're way off. We're way off track.
Oh, I know.
You have drug us into the absolute gutter.
Well, I'm glad I've done something creative today. But no, I'm just sitting there listening to these guys.
Yeah, but don't let the national guys get you upset, man.
Well, I'm not upset. I just like stupid then. You're going to backtrail if it don't come true. Like, well, I really didn't mean to say that like that. I'm like, yeah, you did. I mean, it's just really.
Roll.
Yeah, more and more getting close to the game, more and more I want to beat them bad. I mean, it just. I want to see the other 15 schools have a meltdown.
They're eating the dogs. Oh, I'm sorry. That was somebody else.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tommy, thank you, man.
All right. I'll try and find that bit you.
We got to find We got to find your smartphone first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Borrow your neighbors.
Yeah. All righty.
I mean, flip phone is not valid on this. But if you borrow your neighbors, tell him to download it, put it in your name. That'll work.
Oh, well.
Because I want to give you these tickets.
Well, thank you, but hey, somebody else needed more. I do. I got mine. So
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah, and we're not giving to Georgia fans, so we're.
That's good.
Yeah. So our spinner won't elect a Georgia fan. We're they know a lot about fake ballots over there in that state. So we're. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm gonna highly integrity. Thanks, Tommy.
All right, man. Talk to you later. Roll Tide.
Yeah, right back to you. Let's continue with more phone calls, 205-342-9904. And we go to Alf. Alf, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Okay, so here's the deal, okay, for all of you that are not real tech savvy.
Okay.
If you got iOS, you got an iPhone, put in the letters BETU and then hit enter.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at the scroll down bar, it doesn't have it.
Oh.
So you got to put BETU in and hit enter.
Enter.
And then, and then you'll see it.
And then download it, and then you'll be eligible.
And I called in, so I'm eligible now, right?
You are. I've got you down. Okay. I've got you down, and
all
we're
right.
going to go.
Are you sure? Are you sure I'm eligible before I give you my score prediction?
Well, no, we're not. We did scores on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're not doing scores, but you're welcome to give you.
I know.
Score.
I'm not for the contest.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. We're throw against the wall.
I think Georgia's going to win.
I gotta go. I
know, and I hope all my friends and family are not listening right now. But from the very start, since you and I have been talking about this, we said the two Achilles heels is the secondary and our offensive line. And I don't know that either one has gotten a lot better. The only thing we're going to be able to do, we're going to have to scheme so that Beck doesn't know what he's looking at, because he's susceptible to getting rattled.
He is.
But those are our two Achilles heels. And if you look at Georgia's Achilles heels, it's their wide receiver room. It's not that great. So, we get negative going against negative, but I think Georgia's going to cover. And if Georgia covers, we're not any worse of a team than we thought. We're right that we're going to be learning and we're going to keep growing and all that. But Georgia's a really good team, and we're thinking they're not because of what happened in Kentucky. But I think that they have been holding back a lot of tight end play.
But maybe we have as well.
We have. We have. But I think that they played a whole lot better of a team than we did up in Wisconsin. And so I don't know, man. I just think Georgia, this may be their time. And I'll be so glad if I'm wrong, and I'll eat crow for the day of, just get it fixed however you want to, and I'll come up there and eat it. But I think Georgia's going to win.
Okay. Making me sick of my stomach.
Listen, BETU is what we're talking about.
You.
BETU. Right there in the Google bar, and it'll pull up, man.
There you go. Thanks, Al. Thanks. Good marketing.
All right, buddy.
Good marketing. Thanks, man.
You bet.
Back to you. Let me tell you about the pharmacy at Midtown. TJ Thomas, he's the Nick Saban of pharmacists, independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time, packaging, compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa. The pharmacy at Midtown. We're coming back. We're going to get you ready for a little Alabama, Georgia. We'll come back. Jared in Houston, Texas. Jason in T-Town. We got Let's Go Brandon on the phone. We'll get to him. Ellis, we got you. Is that what it says? Let's Go Brandon? Is okay. We'll get to him. All right, we'll get to you. But I want to remind you about Underdog Fantasy. It's the greatest time of the year. Kickoff is here as football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 different states. Got to the game last year by competing on Underdog. You win up to 1,000 times your money by choosing higher or lower on your favorite players. Professional, college. You got the Cowboys coming up a little bit later against those nasty Giants. Brian Daboll, like you can take Dak Prescott, or if you want to go Daniel Jones, you can go that way, higher or lower on your favorite players. If you want to look ahead to Alabama, Georgia, you can do that with those players. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app, UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Fowler, Fowler. Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em. Entry plus $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Fowler, Fowler, to claim your new customer special of a free pick in your deposit offer. Must be 19 in the state of Alabama, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. It's Underdog Fantasy. Higher low. All right, let's continue with phone calls. We're going to go to Jared in Houston. We'll go to Jason in T-Town. We'll go to Let's Go Brandon. And then we'll go to Ellis. Jared in Houston. Jared, good afternoon. You're in the game.
What's happening, Ryan?
I'm good, man. I hope you are as well.
Doing fine. We're looking forward to the big game on Saturday. What do you think, man?
We are too, man. I like Alabama, but I mean, I'd like Alabama if we were playing Jesus and the 12 disciples.
Well, I like Alabama for a reason. A, we're playing at home. B, if you look at every position group, I think we outnumber them. Kalen DeBoer's record against top 10 teams is as good as there is in football. And I think Georgia's overhyped a little bit this year. I don't think they're as like you said a little while ago. You said I don't think this Georgia team is as good as they were at the end of last year. They've lost a lot of players. Granted, we did too, but we retained a lot of people and we recruited really well in some key positions. So I think Alabama's going to win the game. I think they're going to win convincingly. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be a kind of a wire-to-wire win. And I think Kalen DeBoer gets his first big SEC win on Saturday.
Okay. Tell you what, boy, it'd be a momentum. I compared it to the 2008 Clemson game when Alabama took down Clemson, number 9 in the country. And, they're higher ranked. This is not the first game. It's the 4th game. But still, the momentum would be there. And the SEC, all that Lank stuff, it won't be valuable after Saturday if Alabama wins because there won't be a doubter.
No, there won't be. But, here's the thing, turnovers, I think, are going to play a key role in this football game. It's like my dad's bookie said. He liked booking football over any other sports because of the shape of the ball. A round ball, when it hits the ground, you know where it's going, a baseball, a basketball, a soccer ball. But when that oblong football hits the ground, you don't know where it's going. And I like Alabama's defense, the way they're attacking the line of scrimmage. I think our DBs are getting better every week. And I don't think Georgia has that really runaway receiver that they've had in the past to go to, like Bowers or a real true wideout that plays out on the edge. So I think our defense is a scheme that we haven't shown everybody everything yet, in my belief and what I've heard. And Georgia is so accustomed when they come to Tuscaloosa to scheming for a Nick Saban defense. And granted, there are some similarities in this defense to Nick Saban's, but it's a lot different in the aspect that, Kirby, is accustomed to scheming his offense around a certain type of defense. And I think they're going to get some looks this week that they're prepared to, that Alabama has been prepared to give, that they've worked on and worked on, that Georgia's not going to be ready for. So I think Alabama's going to win the game decisively. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but it's going to be when you get done watching the football game, it's not going to be any, who really won this game. The scoreboard doesn't really predict the winner. I think you're going to know who won the football game when it's over. I think it's going to be smash mouth. I like our running backs in this game. I like our O-line in this game against the banged-up D-line that they have. And I think Alabama gets a big win, and Kalen DeBoer gets his feet wet.
All right, I got you. Hey, Jared, appreciate you, man. Let me try to squeeze in the final couple of calls, man. Always, thank you.
Roll Tide, brother.
Roll Tide, Jared. I've also got you in Q6 up at Indy. I've got you down also as the BetU, and we appreciate you downloading the BetU app for a chance to win Alabama-Georgia tickets. Let's go to Jason in T-Town. Jason, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going?
I'm good.
Man, this game is everybody's getting pretty excited about this thing. I like our odds. Yeah, it is. I don't even like coming into Tuscaloosa at this point, but it's you got to do it sometimes. I like our odds. I think we're stacking up really well against them, and I think the pressure is 100% on old Kirby. So I like our odds. You said it was Wyatt's birthday, is that right?
No, Jackson's birthday.
Okay,
yeah.
well, happy birthday, Jackson, and also happy birthday, Olivia Arnold, the director of the Bryant Museum.
Absolutely. Now, the only problem with Jackson, he's a big Kamala guy. He's big.
I've got a hat that I just got the other day. I could bring to him and let him wear. It's got Alabama stuff on it, but it's got some other stuff.
Yeah.
Stop the slander, Ryan.
He's not. I'm aggravating him.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
okay.
Not.
Okay.
If you want to wear that hat, I'll wear my
yeah. No, he might be one of the very few conservative kids over at university, but yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
I got you. Hey, download the app, man, and we got you in the tickets, man.
Already downloaded it. God bless, bud.
Thank you. We are just about out of time. Let's go, Brandon. Brandon, good afternoon. You're in the game.
What's going on, Ryan? You doing all right, brother?
I'm good. Where are you calling us from?
Man, this is Luverne, Alabama, the Nick Saban of pressure washing, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I called you a few weeks ago. I'm going to run down my vision of Bryant-Denny. I'm going to make it quick, but I'm going to run down my vision of Bryant-Denny Saturday night.
Okay.
It's going to be electric. Right after 4 + 2 = 6 happens and the stadium lights start flashing crimson and white, Dixieland Delight is playing and the roar of Bryant-Denny crowd singing along. Georgia and its fans will look around the stadium and say, wow, Alabama is really where legends are made. Because I've told them, Ryan, when you mess with the Tide, you get the tusk. And I have a song for them, Ryan. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Who's that coming down the track? It's Alabama pressure washing. And as Jalen Milrose says, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Brandon, bringing the heat. Brandon, download that app. Brandon, the Nick Saban of pressure washer. Okay, well, all right. Lord. Sometimes I don't think they pay me enough money, Jackson, but that's all right. I love my job. But Brandon, Nick Saban of pressure washers. What he said. I'm praying for those folks down Helena, Category 4, 130 mile per hour. So thinking about all those folks over there. Let's go to Ellis in Manchester, Tennessee. Ellis, good afternoon, my friend. You're in the game.
Good song there, Brandon. People can come up with some stuff, man.
He's a poet. He's a poet, Ellis. I mean,
My daughter lives close to Tampa, Ryan, so be praying for her that everything will be all right where she's at.
Yeah, I'm thinking about David from Tampa. You remember a long-time listener down there. He used to call. He has a job that he doesn't allow to call, but he still listens. So thinking about him down there, man.
Awful. I was coming down tonight, but I had a chance to make some extra money, so I said I'll just get up about 4 o'clock in the morning and head down. So, can't give up that money, Ryan. No. Money talks.
No, you can't. You cannot. So, money makes it now.
That's right. Yeah. What makes the world go around.
Yes, it does. So,
well, I got me a nice outfit to wear where I can sit beside Miss Trump Saturday night.
Yeah. Well, we're going to put you in the box with him. So, going to put you in the box with him. You're going to.
Yeah. I'll be ready to go, dressed up and all, man.
Yeah. And all right, Ellis, I got to get one more call right here, man. I appreciate you as always.
All right, roll Tide, Ryan Fowler.
Right back to you. Let's get another guy qualified. Nope. Okay, he's out. Okay, we're out of time. Hey, we'll do it again tomorrow. SEC Parlay Pick Contest. Big thanks to Simon. Big thanks to Jackson. Happy birthday, Jackson. You going to party?
I got a couple plans tonight. Girlfriend's got a date party, so we'll do that and then see where the night takes us.
Just remember, 2 o'clock comes early.
It does.
2 p.m. Go to class, too. Go to class tomorrow.
I don't have Friday classes, so.
Okay. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, too.
I'll be here.
All right. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate you, man. Simon, you got a prediction for me? You got it real quick. Got a prediction? Because you won't be here tomorrow.
I don't think the people will like it.
Okay. No, you're not going to say it on the air. You're part of our team. We're rolling with the Tide here. We'll do it again tomorrow. Presented by Brian Hard Construction. Hey, for Katie Britt, for Reese Davis, for Bruce Marshall, for Brad Powers, for Rodney Orr, I'm Ryan Fowler, reminding you that we call this program The Game, and you all know that you win the big game. The game of life is to walk daily with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Good night, T-Town. See you tomorrow, 2 o'clock here on Tide 100.9.